So look, I just came on here to say this. I don't know who needs to hear this, but Carmelo Anthony is going to jail. Point blank period. He murdered that kid. There was no self-defense. He straight up murdered that little boy. Period.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 1,000 cities around the world. We just finished 17 years of broadcast excellence. Now in our 18th year. The Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. Good morning, world. Welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. Right now, while we're getting ready for the 4th of July, Iran is parading the coffin of its late supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. And they're going through the streets of Tehran. They're holding a massive funeral processions while issuing new threats against Israel and the USA. For over a week, they've been saber-rattling, warning of harsh retaliation if anyone dares strike while they mourn. Meanwhile, Israel is once again being put into position impossible. Defund yourself, and Israel is labeled as an aggressor. Defending oneself, and Israel is labeled as an aggressor. Sit back and take it, and your people get slaughtered. Just what is Israel to do when Hezbollah attacks them? Hezbollah, Iran's fully owned and operated terror army, just ambushed Israeli troops near Bint Jabal in South Lebanon, wounding the soldiers. Rockets still fly from north. Tunnels are still being built. Hezbollah joined in starting on 10/8/23, the day after the 10/7 massacre. Netanyahu laid down the law. Israel is not leaving until Hezbollah is disarmed and can no longer be a threat to the border. That's not occupation, folks. It's survival. What do you say, President Trump? Hi there. Welcome to the Dave Weinbaum. Oh, wait, number 2.
You know, it's remarkable to see some of our heroes and civil rights leaders of yesteryear, back in the 60s, 70s, speaking about things that many of us black conservatives say to this very day.
Let's quit worrying white people, plaguing white people's neighborhood, forcing ourselves on white people, and we don't clean up and do for ourselves. The slum is not in the neighborhood. The slum is not in the ghetto. The slum is in the people. The people make the slum. And the condition our people are in now, if you gave them a $93 million project, they'll make a slum out of it in 24 hours. Then you can take a nation of people who are intelligent and they can make a slum of paradise.
Now, if you take this clip and you send it to your friends on the left, what'll happen? What's the response going to be? I'll tell you right now what it's going to be.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. Happy almost July 4th. The celebrating goes on. The soccer team is still in it, believe it or not. They're in the top 16, is that correct? So they got two or three more games possible, and they might just be able to win.
Yeah, the next ones are going to be they're getting ready to face some pretty tough opponents to keep winning. But this has been a crazy run already. Their first knockout match victory in I think nearly 40 years.
That's
on Wednesday. Yeah,
it's just incredible. That's going to be just an amazing thing. And now we have Wimbledon being played, and we have a old timer playing in that. What's her name? JP?
Serena Williams, if I remember correctly, right?
And she's going to be playing doubles with her sister, her tall sister,
Venus. Yep.
Venus. Yeah, that should be interesting. You wonder, what are the odds on her coming back like this with all the Utes, out there? I mean, her timing has to be there. All the other stuff that goes with it. It's just not a power game anymore. Or it never really was. But she had a lot of power. But is she going to be able to keep up with the pace? And is she going to be able to actually move after like the first round or so?
I guess time will tell. I mean, that's going to be the thing. She has the experience, but rust is a real thing when it comes to sports. She has not played in several years, and it's not that easy to just jump right back in at the pro level. But if anybody can do it, maybe it's her.
Well, maybe, Anyways, we've got Lisa's coming in shortly. JP is here, and Rick Henderson did all the bits and the clips for this show. And we got a great cast of people coming on. JJ Bradshaw, Rabbi Moshe, all the way from Israel, Chris Adamo, all the way from Missouri, Mark and Pat McCloskey, also from Missouri. And at the end of that all, we get Bill Hardwick running for Senate. How's that? And he's running against, who is he running against? He's running against Don Mayhew.
Which I'm seeing a lot of ads. I'm getting a lot of texts from both of them.
Yeah, me too.
It's starting to ramp up here for this next month.
Starting to get a little heat on there. I wonder if they're going to want to do the show. Here's an announcement for you. I'm probably going to step back a little bit and do one show every 2 weeks. In other words, every other week I'll be doing a show. That'll keep me in it, and it gives a lot of people want to do this job for some reason. I think they're crazy if they're doing it correctly. And maybe one of those crazy people is, he might be staring at me right now. Ladies and gentlemen, what timing this man has. And he's, the country's 250 years old, and he's 248 years old. Is that correct? Or 47 years old?
You're telling the tale, Dave.
Yeah. Well, he was around when they were, all these young guys were running around, not partying and not drinking. Well, they probably were some drinking, but they were doing things like, Constitution. And so was he. He kind of helped out. He was young, but he knows all these guys, and he is a great constitutionalist. And please welcome, all the way from Rolla, Missouri, John Jeffrey Bradshaw.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, JJ. What's up?
It's been a hell of a week, hasn't it, Dave?
Yeah, it's been, in terms of the actual news, just everyone's talking about the takeover of the Democratic Party by the socialists / communists.
Yeah.
And how many times can I run that story? I don't know.
Well, but there's been some significant things happen this week.
Well, let's hear it.
SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States of America, has reached several decisions. A couple of them I agree with. Several of them I think they got seriously wrong. So let's talk about that for a minute. Tourism birth in the United States. The Supreme Court has claimed that the 14th Amendment gives a baby born in this country citizenship, whether the parents are here legally or not. They got it wrong. And what's interesting to me about this is, this has been kicked back and forth for decades, this birthright citizenship. And if you look at the 14th Amendment, the 14th Amendment never had anything to do with this. The 14th Amendment was intended to give the children of slaves citizenship when the slaves no longer had never been citizens. They were indentured servants. So if you look at the 14th Amendment and you read the things that were published around the time that the 14th Amendment was ratified, this has nothing to do with birthright citizenship for anyone other than slaves. So the Supreme Court got it wrong. Now, if you listen to the pundits on the network news, they will say, oh my God, we've got to have a constitutional amendment to rectify this. And that is not the case. Justice Roberts actually gave us a method to take care of this. If our do nothing, know nothing Congress will get off their butts and actually legislate instead of pointing fingers at each other, this can be relatively easily remedied if we have a Congress that's got some cojones.
Well, one thing is for certain: SCOTUS didn't want anything to do with this. At least 5 out of the 9. They're kicking the soccer ball. I'm using that because it's very relevant right now.
Of course.
Up Congress's arse is what they're doing. They're saying, "Oh no, you're not going to get us to do this. Yeah, you want to do it through Congress." Now that brings up a lot of things they can do, though. They can really step up stopping pregnant women from other countries who don't have a citizenship. They can stop them.
Yes. As a matter of fact, yesterday, Chip Roy said we must stop immigration to this country, which we could do with the signing of a document. I think that maybe is a little bit radical, but it would be easily enough done with even something as simple as an executive order, which would say if you're pregnant and you're from China, you can't come here to have your child. But the real solution to this, since the Supremes kicked that can on down the road, our Congress could get off their political lazy duffs and write a few line piece of legislation to take care of this. And I think
it's the 4th of July, man. Come on, give them a break. They're off for 2 weeks.
No, these people are bums. You and I, we've had this conversation before. If it was up to me, we'd kick every one of them to the curb and elect some patriots to this thing.
Yeah, well, why don't we elect the patriots first? And
hey, let's do that
because of the election.
The fact is, a bunch of these folks have been primaried because they're lazy, do nothing bums.
Yeah, and there are also a few rhinos left.
Oh, there are some, but I got to tell you, Donald J. Trump is weeding them out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Speaking of rhinos, Mitch McConnell hadn't been seen for a while. I guess he's in a hospital bed someplace.
He was, yeah.
Did they finally kick him loose?
Apparently they have. He was like in death row.
Yeah, he was found unconscious.
Right, and they were waiting for him to die, and suddenly he got a little better, and now he's at home, from what I've heard, but he's not in great shape.
Well, one could argue, and I will argue, that he's been unconscious for a good long while. If you look at what this guy has done, it's not much.
It's amazing what you can do when your mind isn't there. I mean, look at Biden, for God's sakes.
Oh, my God.
A great example of that.
Joe Biden had a cabal behind him, and I'm not sure he was aware of anything that's attributed to him.
It's a good point.
If there was ever an argument for term limits, I think McConnell is probably a pretty good one. Dianne Feinstein would be a good one. Nancy Pelosi would be a good one. Those are good arguments to say, hey, folks, you're well beyond your best if used by date. How about we kick you to the curb and bring somebody in that maybe has some fresh ideas and hasn't been tainted by the corruption that you clearly have?
Well, the problem is that in certain areas, the elections are very corrupt. And we know that now, especially in the 2020 election. You can't say it the day afterwards, hey, it was stolen, it was cheated. Although they did have physical evidence of them shutting down the voting areas.
Mm-hmm.
They did have some evidence, but you couldn't do a whole investigation in 5 minutes. You had to have some time. Well, now we know.
That prosecution is going on in Georgia right now.
That's right. Yeah.
And I hope something comes of it. You and I have said this for too many years now, that the wheels of justice grind along pretty damn slow. And if it was up to me, we'd light a fire under it.
Isn't that a conundrum between that and what the Constitution does, and the fact that we have these long, drawn-out things? Is that a bad thing or is it a good thing?
No, it was intended to be a deliberative thing. If you look at the way our courts are set up, they're very much intended to be deliberative. If you look at the way our Senate is set up, it is intended to be deliberative, although that's been co-opted by the nut jobs a good long while ago. So the founding fathers looked at the Congress, the House of Representatives, as rabble. They looked upon them as people that are stirring the pot. And the Senate was supposed to be 2 senators from each state that would be calm and deliberative and take their time and get it right. They still take their time, but they rarely get it right. Politics has gotten way too much in the way. And speaking of that, let's talk about John Thune for a minute and his inactivity. The SAVE Act amongst us conservatives has become, it's the banner. It's what we're carrying. It's the hill we're going to die on. The SAVE Act needs to be put into place to ensure that our elections are fair. You and I both believe that elections have been stolen. We're starting to see evidence to that effect. If we see prosecutions, I'll be dancing in the street, but I won't hold my breath either. But John Thune has very much drug his feet on the SAVE Act. And he claims it's because he can't get 60 votes. There is movement in the House to bring this back up as a rider that will go along with some other bill and turn it into a fiscal bill rather than a voting rights bill, with the thoughts of getting it on through the Senate. I don't think the Senate parliamentarian, who's an Obama appointee.
Why is he doing that, though?
Say that again, please.
Why is he doing that? Is he trying to get a 50 vote instead of a 60 vote?
Absolutely. Yeah. We've got the slimmest of margins in the Senate, but with the vice president's tie-breaking vote, we could get some things done if we didn't have to pass by the filibuster. And what's such a crime about this, Dave, and where Thune has gotten this so wrong, is that when the Democrats get a majority, they're going to wipe out the filibuster with the first stroke of a pen. They're going to get rid of it so they can steamroll their agenda through. Why are we not using those same tactics against them?
Aren't they going to have to use a 61 vote on that, or a 60 vote to get rid of the filibuster?
Yeah, it's a 60 vote, but the Dems already have decided that when they retake the House and the Senate, they're going to have that margin. They're convinced that they will have 60 votes. Now, I'm not. Frankly, I think the midterms is going to be a shellacking for the Dems. And the reason is the Republican candidates are going to start banging the drum of all the bad things that have happened under the guise of Democrat leadership. I think there's a pretty good argument can be made there. So we'll see. You know, I actually read the other day.
Are very, very split right now in their own House and Senate, based on what's happening with these socialist Mandami lookalikes. Even the women look like them. Sorry, but it's it's getting to a point to where it's plain what they're doing. They're starting a revolution against the American people that is not popular. It's only popular with a small group of people.
Absolutely
and,
right.
and it's and if they go any further, they're going to get their butts kicked. I think. But let's see. People got to get out and vote. You just have to get out and vote, and we have to be very suspicious of the elections and exponential in getting them right, getting the counts right, getting it to within 1 day with certain exceptions.
Speaking of getting it right or not getting it right, SCOTUS, again, has allowed mail-in ballots to go for a week after the election. California and Sacramento, they're still counting votes from the last election.
Yeah.
Give me a break. You people aren't even trying to hide this corruption anymore. Of course, in California, they've legalized everything. So SCOTUS got this one wrong too. Election day should be election day, but they said, look, this is up to the states, and that's right. That's rightful. That's what the Constitution says. So yeah, they stood by the Constitution, but they still got the concept so very wrong, because mail-in ballots, you saw it in Georgia. There were mail-in ballots counted that didn't even have a crease on them. They'd never been in an envelope. Yeah. Now, how do you purport that to be a legal count? Please explain that to me, Georgia.
It was legal until it wasn't. It was legal.
It was legal until they got caught.
They didn't get around to it. You see, they were a little busy doing other stuff, like what? I don't know, but killing the economy, raising the doors to the country via a bunch of aliens coming in and not checking the fact that a lot of them were criminal or criminally intended, and were also there to take over the vote.
Well, they did it, didn't they?
Well, and they're still there.
Well, of course. Like I said, the wheels of justice grind pretty slowly.
Sure.
Now, things that SCOTUS actually got right: men and women's sports. This goes back to Title IX in 1972.
That's a big deal.
It shouldn't be, but it certainly has become.
It's like a 90% thing.
We have a Supreme Court justice that cannot define what a woman is.
And that's something.
Yeah, I mean, give me a break.
Makes both of us want to go to law school.
No, absolutely not. I think I'll stick with engineering. Thank you. At least that is a sane thing. The mail-in ballots, 5-4, they got that wrong. And someday that's going to rear its ugly head. I don't know how that's going to turn out. Now, I'm a Second Amendment proponent, and there was some good Second Amendment things coming out. Our DOJ is suing California and Virginia for some obviously unconstitutional gun bans that they have enacted. And from what I've seen, the arguments that I've seen printed, looks like the Second Amendment proponents are probably going to win that. Good.
Yeah.
SCOTUS, you're trying. I'll give you this. We got a conservative majority in there, and yeah, you're doing it better than the previous ones did. But you got a long way to go before you actually follow our Constitution and get it right.
Well, how's this Todd Blanche executing right now? What do you think of him? DOJ head now replaced.
I don't have an opinion on that yet, because there's just not enough mileage. What little I have read looks positive, but I want to see your cards. I want to see what you do.
I like to get ahead of the news, though. I like scoops.
Good.
I want JJ to say, "No, this guy's terrible." Or, "No, this guy's the best guy Trump ever appointed."
Well, you got to show me a track record, and I haven't seen one yet. Let's talk about Donald J. Trump for a minute. Our esteemed president, who is going to do a whole lot of things on the 250th anniversary of the birth of our country, which I think is pretty good.
How about that? How about this president and what might have happened if, like, Biden had won again or Kamala? I mean, can you imagine the contrast between the feeling of what America feels with all these people coming for the huge soccer tournament, and they're all screaming U.S. These are the foreign people. USA, USA.
The Europeans have have lambasted the United States for many years, and they spread rumors that there's a gun on every corner and you're going to get mugged, so don't come here. And the ones that have come here have discovered an amazing amount of freedom, even though us that live here bitch about it because it's not as much freedom as we once had. But they got to experience good air conditioning, eat some good food, and notice that the man on the street is friendly and patriotic. And it's nothing like the propaganda that Europe has been fed. So we got people going back to Europe and Asia saying, hey, man, this ain't a bad place. I'd like to maybe come live here.
Yeah.
Well, good. Obey our laws.
Right.
File for citizenship. Do it the right way. Don't just wander across the border.
Pregnant.
Donald J. Trump.
Unattended to.
CNN polls. Now, you and I both kind of poo-poo CNN polls because they're typically written with a bias built in them.
Yep.
So when I read a CNN poll that actually showed Donald J. Trump's approval at 86%, CNN went and looked at Obama's and Bush's and neglected Biden's for the same time period in their presidency. So Trump at 86% in this part of his pregnancy. Obama was 77%, which was considered outstanding at that time. Bush, 77%. But the CNN poll did not include Joe Biden. And they claimed that Joe Biden's presidency was too recent to do that. I claim BS.
Well, wait a minute. What about Trump? Were they grading him from the last election that he was president?
No, this is one. This is what I'm getting at. They left Biden out of this thing. And I suspect, and you probably do as well, that Biden's poll numbers were so dismal at that time that CNN chose not to publish them. But I'm so pleased.
It makes for a lawsuit. It makes for a tough lawsuit to get out of. If they do that,
again, please.
I said this makes them culpable for a lawsuit, a very expensive one, for showing false elections or not showing false elections when they occur.
They would just say it's an accidental omission and post a retraction on the 15th page of the newspaper. Now, Trump right now, 82% of the Republicans approve of him, and that's actually a peak from a while back. I think folks are noticing Trump's doing things right. He's getting
rid of the rhinos. He's getting rid of those guys in their primaries.
Yeah. He said when he was politicking and when he was working his way into the presidency that you guys, we're going to make sure that you get primaried. And by golly, he's managed to get it done. Sure. That's happening at a grassroots level. People see, like Mitch McConnell, for instance, has done very little for the Republican Party in a good long while. He's drug his feet on everything that was positive. And it looks like Mitch not going to attempt to be reelected, and we're going to put somebody in his place that's actually a real conservative. So, Trump has fomented some things that are pretty darn good, and I'm proud of him for that. Now, the man is aggravating and bombastic, and there are times I don't particularly like him, but I certainly like what he has done for our country. He's undoing some things that have just been a horrible mess and things that have been thrust upon us by Democrats, nut jobs, and rhino Republicans who claim very much to be a Republican but vote Democrat. So, my hat's off to you. On the 250th anniversary of our country, Donald J. Trump, I'm mighty proud that you are here and you are guiding our country.
Yeah.
We could have done way worse.
Did you have the tape of Maher saying who he was going to back in the 28 election? Just tell him who that was.
No,
Bill Maher.
Yeah, I was trying to find an audio clip that we could use. I was not able to find one, but there are all kinds of. Well, let me pull up my phone. I took a picture of it because they made a post on this, and if people will recall, we did clips about Bill Maher going to the White House and meeting with Trump.
Right.
This was probably close to a year ago now. I mean, it's been a while. And he
Big liberal.
And he came back and said, "Hey, he's really not that bad. He's not what I thought he was. He was very soft spoken." Yeah. So now it has come out that Bill Maher has said that now the Democrat Party is in trouble because of how they're embracing this Mondami-led socialist wing that is now taking over the Democrat Party. And Bill Maher is now open to voting for Vance and or Rubio in 2028 to stop them. And that is a major turn.
But we had a major loss in the party. Tucker Carlson is gone. He's become, I think,
seriously. Tucker has turned into a whack job, and Candace Owens too. It just amazes me the turnaround that those folks have done. Now, Bill Maher saying that Trump's not such a bad guy, that's a little dated. That happened a while back. But I think everybody that meets Trump and realizes what he's doing for the country comes away saying, well, he's not a bad guy. Well, hello, Miss Lisa. I'm glad to see you showed up. You missed some really good conversation.
Oh, I know. She doesn't care. She's got her own conversations.
Well, okay.
Oh, no. You're late. Really late.
I was having car trouble.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no.
Excuse moi.
The truck would barely start. So
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So did you have to hitchhike into the studio? Is that the deal?
Yeah, she's dressed for it too, baby. Look at her. Look at her. She's looking sharp. Can you put a
neighbor, beg somebody on the street corner? Hey, pick me up and take me downtown.
Yeah. Okay.
I won't
your
go
own
any
way.
further with
Stay away.
All right, Dave, we're done.
All right, my friend. Let's all hear it for. Hey, wait a minute. Do we have any clips up? We got people sending us stuff. By the way, if you want to call the show, it's 573-578-2700, or you can
also message us and comment on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. I had to think about that for a second.
Ray Maddox, good morning from Oklahoma.
Good morning, Roy.
Oklahoma. G.N. Hughes, good morning from Texas. Happy 4th of July, y'all.
Well, happy Independence Day to you.
Tricia Oden Maxwell. Sounding good, looking good. Go team. Okay. Ann Maddox. Hello from Yukon. Have a safe 4th of July. Is that Yukon like Alaska?
Yukon, Oklahoma. That's my daughter.
Yeah, all right. Cool.
She wants to listen to her old man rave.
And Patricia Oden Maxwell for you. Thanks for your great info, JJ.
Thank you, Pastor Pat.
And happy 4th of July to everyone. 250. Yay. God is good. This is another Pat Oden Maxwell. Okay. Hey, and that's it for you, buddy. You have a great weekend.
Conversation again next Friday.
Happy 4th of July.
And almost the same to you, Dave. Good day.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's hear it for JJ Bradshaw. And let's go to commercial right now.
Woohoo, what perfect timing.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word: crispy, but also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word? But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in 1 word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day. Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Bob Willis, an author and writer, and I write nature books. I live here in a ranch on the Ozarks and have published many books over 2 decades of writing. The Trout Adventure series of books was about traveling the world with a camera and a fly rod. The Last Buffalo in Kansas is a true story about one family's journey through 100 years of American history. A couple of years ago, I decided to write a children's nature series of books. 2 of those books have been published. The Adventures of Dog is a story about a puppy that grows up on a ranch in the Ozarks and has fabulous adventures. The Adventures of the Cats R Us Gang is about a group of cats that band together to protect the ranch from a dastardly group of raccoons. Wonderful stories for children, wholesome, about nature and the Ozarks. They're available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and in Walmart even. They're available locally at Reader's Depot. Hey, take a look at them. Thanks a lot.
At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Look who's here. And I can't see that. He's there. Oh, there he is. Oh, it scared the hell out of me. All right. So, yes, I know. A very scary background because he knows a lot. Anyways, he is the ceasefire war rabbi. Did you know that? Ceasefire war rabbi supports
I get a new
IDF
title every week.
Huh?
I used to be the chief rabbi of Rolla, Missouri. What happened to that?
Well, you have a lot of
I have a lot of titles. Yeah,
some of them we can use on air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ceasefire war rabbi. He's also a comedian, so I can mess with him some. Supports IDF widows and kids in housing and spirit, along with his artist wife, Yonit. Please welcome all the way from Israel, Rabbi Moshe Rothschild.
What you
Wait a minute, you were going to play something.
We had a delay with the crowd. They were snacking real quick, and I had to get them queued up.
They were banging on the door, for God's sake. Where's the rabbi? Where's the rabbi? And I hope it was a good thing, not a bad thing. So it was reported that Bibi Netanyahu wants to end American aid to Israel. Stunning if true. I doubt that it is, but Israel planned to kill Iran negotiators. That's another rumor going out there. Can you answer any of these?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the first thing you said, Bibi had, I don't know why it's getting to the press now, but Bibi had said that months ago.
Right.
And he's right. And everyone in Israel has been talking about that for months since he said it. And we're not even getting that much money from the U.S. While, of course, 3.8 billion sounds like a lot of money, which it is to the average person. But considering what Israel's GDP is, considering our defense budget, it's a tiny, tiny fraction. And not only that, the money that Israel receives, 80% of it must be spent in the U.S.
Yeah.
That's like, let me give you an example. That's like, Dave, imagine giving your kids money and say, I'll give you money, but you have to spend it in my McDonald's. So it's coming right back.
Out of the will?
It comes right back. It comes right back to the United States. So Israel doesn't really need that money. More what we need is the ability to buy things from the U.S. We don't need the money, but we need to be able to buy things from the U.S. Now, that is something Israel is also trying to wean itself off of, meaning Israel is trying to create an industry to create its own missiles, its own ordinances for the Iron Dome system. And we don't have to rely upon, Joe Biden's goodwill or Joe Biden deciding he's going to embargo Israel or slow down the sale in the middle of a war. That's when Israel realized we can't rely upon that. Trump has not done that, but Biden did do that. And Israel has already started. But Netanyahu has said here in Israel that it will take about 10 years for us to ramp up production, to create the right factories until Israel will be completely dependent, not only on receiving American aid, but having to purchase military equipment from the U.S., and Israel would rather create it here.
But isn't it true that Israel also spends a lot of money in the USA, and they upgrade a lot of stuff that the United States is backwards in somewhat, like the Iron Dome, for example.
Right. This is right. Anyone that tells you that it's a one-way street, that Israel's the receiver and America's the giver, right, does not understand at all what's going on. Israel and America, there's so much exchange that goes on the military level, on the sharing of intelligence, of improving of equipment. You look, Israel uses American military equipment in real time, and we have greater experience using American equipment than even America does. We're constantly engaged in battles, and we take our experience and we upgrade the F-35s or any of the F-Series planes. We upgrade everything we receive from America, and we share that with the United States.
Exactly.
So I think
it's probably a pretty good investment by the United States, because eventually they're going to put out this whatever the latest version of the Iron Dome is on America.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think Israel, Netanyahu is saying things like this because the haters are saying things about it. It's not in the best interest of the states. it is in the best interest of the U.S. giving Israel money. Why? If I'm speaking now solely as an American, which I am, but not as an Israeli, I'd say, look, Israel is a very important strategic partner. They're the only democracy in the Middle East. Their technology is world leading. I want them in my pocket. I don't want them, to walk away from this relationship.
Yeah.
And I can keep Israel in my pocket as an American by giving them money, by giving them, selling them equipment, and therefore Israel is indebted to me. Unfortunately, you have a lot of haters in America that say that Israel's controlling America. It's actually quite the opposite. America tells Israel when to attack, when not to attack. Now, does Israel always listen? Not all the time, but Israel is often controlled by America because of what we receive from America. And if I was the American president, I would be upset that Israel's not taking our money. I would be upset that Israel's not buying equipment from us, because then we have no control. We have no say over a very important ally. That's my take on it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of evangelicals, including our very own Pastor Pat, says if you're against the Jews, you are against Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
And you better get out of that.
Right. Read the Bible,
Yeah.
You want to be anti-Zionist? We didn't make up the word Zionist. The word Zion is in the Bible. God is a Zionist. If you're against Zionism, you ask me,
you're against God.
You're against the Bible. It means you don't know the Bible. You're not reading the Bible. You think you know the Bible, but you don't know the Bible. I'm saying someone might think they know it, but they don't.
I'm going to put an image up here, and we'll talk about another one who talks on what you think of when people criticize Zionists, they mean Jews. You are talking anti-Semitism. That's Martin Luther King. Say whatever you want to say about him, but that's what he said.
100%.
Yeah, there you go.
And he's right. And he's 100% right.
So there's a Canada synagogue fire. Oh my God, is that him?
No, that's my dog barking at nothing. Barking at nothing important. Ivy, don't interrupt Dave, Ivy.
He could be warning you of something. You never know. Canada synagogue firebomber promised $15,000 for attack. So I don't know who that was that would give him $15,000 in a Canada to destroy a Canada synagogue.
Right. I mean, well, that's exactly what we face here in the Middle East. It's called pay to slay. That's what the Palestinian Authority does. You kill a Jew, you attack a Jew, you go to jail for it, and we will continue. We will pay you. We'll pay your family, even if you're killed. We'll continue to pay your descendants. And it's incentivized.
Where do they get the money?
Yeah, they get it from U.S. taxes. They get it from the EU. And that money is used in order to perpetuate and to incentivize terror.
Let's go back in history a little bit. Entebbe, Uganda. Idi Amin hostages in Africa remind us of this. Yoni Netanyahu, the older brother of Bibi Netanyahu, was killed there. What are your takes from this?
Yeah, so July 4th, 1976.
Right.
50 years ago, an Air France plane on its way to Israel was hijacked, of which over 100 Israelis were on the plane. And the plane was forced to land in Uganda, and the airport Entebbe, Uganda. And in a stunning raid, the Israeli Air Force flew from Israel to Uganda, some 1,000+ miles, landed, and their elite unit led by Yoni Netanyahu, older brother of Benjamin or Bibi Netanyahu, led the raid and freed the passengers. The only one killed was the commander, Yonatan Netanyahu, was killed in that raid. And it was one of Israel's daring operations that really put the Mossad and Israeli intelligence on the map.
They had to get some help from somewhere, didn't they? It's just coming up that they somehow got permission to fly over some countries and maybe not others, or what?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, they had to either that or they flew beneath the radar. Radar was less sophisticated in the 1970s than it is now. So, but it was one of the great successes of
the U.S. supports the Pakistan's right to defend itself. They support it. And amid renewed conflict with Afghanistan, now what's going on with Donald Trump's support of Israel, with the fact that we're still getting bombed? You're still getting bombed by Hezbollah, and you're not supposed to do anything.
Yeah, it's troubling, but Netanyahu has said he's going to do what's in our best interest. And even if it means going against what Donald Trump wants, and it seems to be working, Israel has responded and Trump hasn't said anything. So I think there's kind of this wink going on.
Could be.
There's a lot.
Let's hope that saner people are there, but it gives hope to the bad guys when they hear this kind of stuff and they think they're actually winning when they're not.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, this region, the only thing that, they see here apologies, saying you're sorry, backing down as weakness. They don't see it as virtuous, right? In American Western culture, apologizing for mistakes is seen as virtuous. Here, if Israel accidentally would bomb something that was, let's say a school, and Israel apologizes, which Israel would, the Arab world sees that as weakness, and the Western world doesn't see it like that.
We've got an interesting thing going on right now. We got the Iranians who told Trump that they're not going to do any more talks until they rightfully bury their Ayatollah.
Yeah.
In other words, and you better not attack anybody on our side, including Hezbollah. All right. So now, if this kind of works, and right now Trump is playing along a little bit, how are we going to have? How many of these guys have been killed, and how many weeks to a year, or are they going to lengthen it to a month? I mean, what kind of a trap is this supposed to be springing?
Yeah, I think the funeral, they said, is going to be a week.
Something like exactly. That. A week.
Yeah.
And you better not do it. And with a warning, you better not do anything about this. You better not do any military action. Israel has to not hurt anybody, including the Hezbollians who have dug tunnels all over the place, and their own government can't control them.
Yeah, 100%. And they in my mind, they seem to be playing the U.S. and they're just going to keep pushing, see as far as they can push them.
What do you take out of the Persians who want to take over this country? They're about 90% of them, 80, 90.
I wish they would. I wish they could. At the end of the day, we're just back on the path to war. We may have delayed it, but we're back on that path because this administration, this jihadi regime, is never going to live in peace. They're never not going to support terror. They're never not going to pursue nuclear weapons. They're never not going to threaten Israel. They will, they'll say whatever, they'll lie whatever just to get America off their back. But they have not been rehabilitated. They're not suddenly, Mahatma Gandhi is running Iran, and if we don't wake up to that, which we seem to be asleep at the wheel, we're just kicking the can down the road. Whether it's going to be 6 months, 6 years, I don't know. But it's going to be a war again.
Well, they're all killing on the Democrats to get rid of the Republicans.
Yeah,
and they'll go along with anything.
100%. The same way that Israel was waiting and trying to wait to get rid of Biden until Trump would come in. They're waiting to get rid of Trump until someone else comes in. And believe me, they're hoping it's not going to be Marco Rubio.
Really?
But because I think Marco Rubio will be tough on them. I think
on Israel.
On Iran. I'm saying the same way that Israel was waiting for Trump, Iran's waiting to get rid of Trump.
What about our Vice President Vance?
I don't.
Derogatory remarks about Israel.
I think they see Vance as a lightweight that they could play with.
Okay.
And they see Vance as someone who's closer to their side than closer to Israel.
Yeah.
So, right at this moment, if there had to be an election, I would support Rubio 100%.
So as long as Tucker Carlson doesn't make it to the presidency.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
I would support Rubio. I would support DeSantis.
I like DeSantis. I mean, I don't know. Nobody knows what they're going to do. Even Barack Obama, when he first got elected, what a cool thing, black guy in there first time, and
you never know.
Nobody knew until maybe a couple of months, a year later, that what this guy was doing was destroying America.
Right.
Well, he didn't know that.
You don't know.
You know it now, though. That's for darn sure.
Campaign promises are not the same as when they're in office. There's those two things, there's a disconnect.
So Defense Minister Katz, IDF Chief Zamar mark 1,000 days since October the 7th, and they warn Iran. What is that? Is there any substance to this or anything that is Iran just shivering in their booties or
in their Houthis? Their Houthis or their booties?
No, you get credit for that one.
They'll never on the outside show any weakness or concern, but I think they're scared. I think they are, and they can't stand up to Israel or the United States. They're just not, and they've been downgraded dramatically. So I think they're afraid, but they'll never show and never admit it.
Yeah, well, they all still believe, I guess, in the dog. The dog always comes in at the right time.
He's looking for climbing in.
Thank you. Your dog he's a good guest.
Yeah,
it's cute. I had to bring my parrot. They can have a cat.
Exactly. Talk to each other.
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought maybe the dog was reading a book and was wanting to read an excerpt to you or something. Over
there from the
library.
Secrets of the Hebrew Bible, for goodness sakes. You got to go get that. So Aussie Jews fear listing as Jews to hospitals and anyone else that wants information in Australia, a place you used to be. And
I'm a citizen.
You're a citizen of Australia?
Yeah.
Why don't you run? I dare you to run for prime minister there.
I don't know if they have. I wasn't born there. I don't know if they have what the law is with that. I'm not sure. But
well, you
it's
can pull
not a bad idea.
You can pull a Henry Kissinger type thing,
or Barack Obama. I'll just get a birth certificate from Tasmania or something.
Tell him you were born in Brooklyn and you get OAC or AOC to contribute to that.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Good idea.
Yeah. So world leaders, including Pakistani Prime Minister, attend the week-long funeral of Hamis, and the USA and Israel are threatened by this, and I think we covered this, but more comments on that.
Well, first of all, it's interesting because in Judaism, we bury as fast as possible.
Yeah.
It always strikes me as odd when you saw like the Queen of England, and they have like a 30-day funeral or whatever, or taking her body around the country, or
I'm surprised they haven't dug her up and taken her to the tennis tournament, Wimbledon.
Weekend at Bernie's.
He hit the first ball out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
No, but like they've had
come on.
Weekend at Bernie's. I don't know if you saw that one.
That's horrible. That was horribly disrespectful, and I'm so sorry to tennis.
Well, I don't know if I mean, I didn't know that he wasn't buried yet, to be honest. I thought he was buried a long time ago. And then I heard the funeral was going on for a week. It's like,
oh yeah, but that's really an interesting kind of thing, and they're making warnings off of this, and they might just carry this out, and if it works a little bit, you know what, the next one's going to go 2 weeks, And the third one's going to have a parade, and they're going to parade them all over the Middle East.
Yeah, reminds me. I remember like years ago, I heard that the owner of the movie theater died, and the local theater, and they had the funeral. It was 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 11:30.
That's pretty funny. I don't care who. Can you play that the guy with the jail thing?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll get it queued up here.
We're going to play you one more thing, and I know you have to get busy. And
I got to get
challah. You got to make the challah, right?
You
make
the challah, right?
Yeah. Listen.
Let me share the screen so everybody can see it.
Yeah, we got it coming. This is very interesting here. What this guy says. I know you'll be interested.
For example, I have a buddy who eats 3 meals a day. He gets to work out twice a day, and he even had sex 2 or 3 times every day. And every time I talk to him, all he does is complain about how much he hates prison.
Oh, God.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, other than the DWS show, where can people find and contribute?
They can, first of all, they can pick up a copy of the book, secretsofthehebrew.org, and get yourself a copy, or go to our website, israelalliance.org, or our Facebook page on the screen, facebook.com/Global Israel Alliance. We'd love to hear from you.
I've heard that Trump is the only president to get oil go straight. Ladies and gentlemen, Rabbi Moshe Rothschild. You're not doing the joke, are you? You're not doing the joke, are you? You had to think about it. No. I know what you're going to do. Cricket. Yeah, all right.
All right, guys.
Go straight? The hormones straight? Oh, my gosh. Listen to the show once in a while, please. I'm begging you. All right. Shabbat shalom.
All right, guys. Shabbat shalom.
Best to your family.
Thanks. Take care.
Right. Bye-bye. Okay, we're back on the show, and what do we got now? We've got let's play 2 and 3. Well, I wanted to play that. What is the one I wanted to play? I wanted to play the Possums.
Oh, I'll get that.
Yeah, get that one up right away, because this is important. This is what the American Second Party, the Dems, are now composed of, and this is going to be very interesting to see. Here it is right now.
Okay, so I'm going to go and share it so everybody.
All right, share it. Yes, it's almost there, ladies and gentlemen. Almost there. There we go.
Boom! Oh man! You see that? Every single one. Boom! Oh man!
We're moving a bit.
Every single one.
There it is.
You say boo, and they just go right over every single.
I don't think it's going to be that easy, but there's some merit in it. I mean, a lot of the Democrats don't like this. I mean, they're in a bad position. How can you be Jewish and be in the Democratic Party?
I think it says something that Bill Maher went on his show and talked about this visit with Trump. It was not what he expected. It was better. He came away saying these glowing things. Then less than a year later, now he's saying the Democrats are going too far. Like, I can't stay with them.
Yeah.
He's a long time Democrat commentator. Like, he has backed them forever.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I can't stay with them.
Yeah.
To me, that says a lot.
I mean, more of them, more and more of them. How are they going to defend it? It's nuts. Okay. So Trump just got himself a Air Force One, and there's a big to-do over that. Was that from Qatar, or is it from the Houthis, or what? Who was that from?
I thought Qatar, but I could be wrong.
Could be
I'm
Qatar.
just doing that from memory.
Could be maybe he's in on stuff with is also in Qatar. That would be Tucker Carlson. Yeah, they built him a house. A couple years ago, they got him of tapes like in 24 saying how horrible these people were, and now he has turned completely around and saying, well, there are great people there. And when he said, I'd never have a place built in Saudi Arabia or the Qatar, and guess what? The next thing you know, a year and a half later or so, they're building me a house in Qatar. Yeah, no, you're not. Yeah, it's not that it's stupid. It's that it's getting people killed. It's getting Jews all over the world claiming that Jews are killing Christians in Israel is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They're all, and even the Arabs there are on the Supreme Court. They're in government, and what are they in Qatar? Even in Qatar, you can't be a citizen. In a lot of areas like that, and in all the other Egypt, you have to be a citizen first. So it's very hard to become a citizen there. That's why they're not taking any people out of Gaza. Allegedly Palestinians. And I like Jerry Seinfeld's answer during the right after the game, the Knicks game, when a guy approached him and says, "Well, aren't you going to give any what is that?
Hold on.
What are you doing?"
I'm done.
Thanks for your contribution once again, taking me off my. yeah. You gotta laugh at it, folks. Suddenly I'm hearing stuff that is totally unrelated to what I'm saying, and I'm supposed to do this. I'm getting old,
I've been producing this show for a while, and the first time that ever happened, I thought it was the other voices in my head that I was starting to actually really hear. I was like, man, they're getting louder.
Yeah. What the hell was I talking about, anyways?
I forgot.
Very good at this, honey. You're a star. You're a very big star. So, anyways, there's a big stink about Donald Trump getting a new A1 or whatever, America One, Air Force One, and the question I have is, what is he keeping it? I mean, is he actually going to keep this plane? Doesn't it go down to the next president? Yes. For goodness sakes, I don't think Trump is planning on running in 28.
Yeah, I don't think after he's done as president, he's going to take that one and go park it at Mar-a-Lago and keep it. Like, it doesn't work that way. So.
I don't think so. Why don't you do a little searching on that one, honey?
Well, I did, and JP is correct. It was donated by Qatar.
Okay, donated. Oh, that takes serious implication right there. Anyways, it's BS, and everyone look at Obama's abomination. Abomination. That's pretty good. The Obama abomination. So, I don't know if I thought of that first.
One thing earlier, I must say that when Obama came out his first term, I was actually still in college at the time. Yeah. And everybody on my campus right here at ST, we finally got the right person. And I said, no, he's the wolf. I saw it from the beginning.
Yeah, well,
I never voted for him once.
Yeah.
And when he said, I'm going to fundamentally change America, my concern was, he's going to fundamentally change it for the negative. And that's exactly what he did. He sowed seeds that we're just now starting to see harvest even today.
He worked the slums is what he did. He worked the slums. He got money. He got a lot of legal money started. He got places like Iran funded back in the early in his presidency, about 2012, 2013, and passed it on to the Biden administration, who gave him a lot more. Could you imagine paying 1.6 million or billion? No, billion, not 1.6 million. 1.6 billion. That's with a B and an onion in the back. Billion for one hostage? Well, of course, they're not stupid over there. I mean, they may be evil, but they're not stupid when they see one person going for $1.6 billion. There's an opportunity. That's the opportunity they're looking for. So how many hostages were taken in the October 7th, 23? And after that, even, what was it, like 200?
It was a lot.
250? About 50 of those were Americans.
Yep.
You know?
And for them, what does that mean? That's business.
Of course.
That's a business transaction.
Of course. And they got the UN to not only to give them money all the time, but even after this war started, even during the war, some of the people in the UN were in on the attack. Actually, part of the group that were killing Jews. Imagine that. Now there has to be some kind of a reasoning that we don't need to be in the UN anymore, and I think we're headed that way. And I don't think we need to be in NATO anymore, because they showed their little high heels and stomped us out when we needed them, and they wanted to be like that. Let them fight their own damn wars. This was set up right after. Right after. When was NATO set up? It was set up,
I think,
right after World War II. I think
wasn't
so.
It? Yeah.
Yeah. So that we couldn't have this anymore. That we would be helping people protect themselves. Well, Trump's got a pretty good idea. Make Canada an addition to the United States, and Greenland to America. Play the Greenland one. That was a pretty good one. Yeah. That's the famous journalist Nick Shirley. You got it. Yeah. And you'll see what commerce they could be bringing to the United States of America.
Well, and one thing I just find interesting too about the whole thing with UN and NATO is, let's not get it mixed up. UN and NATO have an agenda.
Yeah.
They're not going to back us no matter what we do. Like if it doesn't fit with what they want to do, they're not going to help us out. There's just absolutely no way.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go get this queued up here in just a second. I'm going to get this fired up, and then we're going to share the screen so that
there he is.
Everybody can actually see this.
He's coming.
So now, good old Nick Shirley, who's been on covering all kinds of amazing stuff.
We're talking real Nobel Peace
Prize. Yeah. And here's some more.
All right.
To the people here in Greenland, how do you guys feel about becoming part of the United States?
It's good.
Would you rather be a part of the United States or Denmark?
United States.
And you? United States or Denmark?
United States.
What makes you guys excited about potentially becoming a part of the United States?
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
We want fast food.
Now let's.
And suddenly, this hat jumped on my head. I don't know. How did that happen? What the hell? I can't. No, I got to bend down to show you. I'm bending to my audience so they can see the McDonald's hat. And this was given to us by Angie Reese with Legacy Embroidery and Screen Printing. Thank you so much for this. This is really sharp. We got a whole bunch of these in our repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
We do. We have that repertoire. Does anyone else have a repertoire? Does anyone else know how to put a microphone over the mouth of a old man?
That was weird.
Okay, what?
That whole thing was weird.
Why was it weird?
Wait till you see the playback.
What did they say? It was funny. You should be all right. Give me what do you know about? No, we can't do that with her.
I'll get in trouble.
That's right. You would get in trouble. You'll get in trouble. Yeah, she's trouble. That's what she is. She's trouble. Anyways, let's do clip 2 and 3. Is it? Did we do clip 1 yet?
So technically, clip 1 was our intro. Clip 2 was after the monologue. We've got 11, 12, and 13 we haven't played yet.
11 and 12. Let's play those.
This is the way we do things. When allies feel existential danger, they move quickly, and they're willing to go further than anyone else is comfortable with because they believe they are the target. We don't believe that. Every president has said that they believe that, but nobody has had the stones to do anything. Why? Because you don't believe that. The American people don't see this as an actual threat. When a superpower sees the broader system, the dominoes, the alliances, the escalation ladder, it moves to control the scope of that action, and sometimes from the outside, but sometimes from within. So consider this possibility, just a theory. The United States didn't enter this conflict because it was misled. It's because we face the choice of two wars. One, it could influence that we were going to do anyway, and one, it could not. If America stands aside, Israel acts alone. And when a nation believes its survival, its very survival is on the line, it doesn't calibrate for global stability. It calibrates for certainty. Wipe it out. That means what? Wider targets, deeper strikes, faster escalation, fewer constraints, oil fields on fire. What happened just last week? They hit oil fields. We were being led by the nose by Benjamin Netanyahu. That makes no sense. If we were duped into the war and we're fighting Israel's war, why then would President Trump say, stop it, stop hitting the oil fields? They have different goals than we do. We came in, and quite honestly, again, imagine we've been hit by Mexico and NATO decided to step in and said, okay, we'll help you solve this problem.
Yeah. Like that would happen, And you kind of understand the logic to it. He's president of the United States, not president of the world. He thinks he is maybe, but, once you get to realization and you say, wait a minute, I can't just put the whole army in because that's always been a disaster. Afghanistan, Iraq. We're going to be talking to Bill Hardwick about this, who's been to war, and so was JJ to war, and very interesting people, and what they think about who they were protecting in Iraq, and was there any clamor about them fighting someone else's war? So I know Bush, when they went, what country did he go into? Did he go into Afghanistan?
Yeah.
So Bush went into Afghanistan. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why everybody was honest, because they didn't understand why, and there was a lot of speculation that bin Laden wasn't even in Afghanistan, but we went there anyway. So I was trying to figure out why. And I don't know where he ended up at, but
I thought he was on his way to Syria or some other place.
It was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
because he stopped midway. They were winning, so to speak, and I think it had something to do with all the oil, because Trump was in oil, and he let a lot of Saudi Arabian officials out of the country during the 9/11 attack on the buildings, the World Trade buildings. So, it's interesting to realize when you start putting these things together that there's more to it than you could think of at first. And time tells all, except for the CIA, and we need to get them jiggy with telling us the truth of what happened. We need people to tell us about aliens, not just human aliens, but from outer space. We know there's stuff going on there. They got a whole unit of things. Now Trump is slowly giving this stuff out. We have a segment on our show that tells us about it. I've had an experience with it. anyone out there that may know of something, please contact me, 573-578-2700, or
you can also send us a message on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble.
Okay, and we're going to take our last commercial break. We'll be back with my friend Chris Adamo, who he's a real firecracker, and then we have the McCloskeys on, 2 lawyers. I'm at a 2-lawyer minimum, and you're going to get an extra one because right after them, it's going to be Bill Hardwick. He's a lawyer too. What is it with me and lawyers? I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, I should have been a lawyer, but there's too many ridiculous things that happen. Too much politics involved these days, I'd say. All right, so hit it, please.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word: crispy, but also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender, all one word. But then also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry. for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Rob Willis, an author and writer, and I write nature books. I live here in a ranch on the Ozarks and have published many books over 2 decades of writing. The Trout Adventure series of books was about traveling the world with a camera and a fly rod. The Last Buffalo in Kansas is a true story about one family's journey through 100 years of American history. A couple of years ago, I decided to write a children's nature series of books. 2 of those books have been published. The Adventures of Dog is a story about a puppy that grows up on a ranch in the Ozarks and has fabulous adventures. The Adventures of the Cats R Us Gang is about a group of cats that band together to protect the ranch from a dastardly group of raccoons. Wonderful stories for children, wholesome, about nature and the Ozarks. They're available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and in Walmart even. They're available locally at Reader's Depot. Hey, take a look at them. Thanks a lot.
Maybe it's for a kitchen you've always wanted. Maybe it's just to have a little extra room. Whatever the reason you're considering a new home loan, it's good to know that Town & Country Bank will guide you in the right direction. Our experienced local lenders are here to help you with a new home construction, remodeling projects, and fixed and adjustable rate home loans. You can even start the process online by clicking Online Mortgage Center at tcbanks.com. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, we're back. I was watching my wife put the American flag in a vase holder, a vase.
I'm just proving to you that
Yes, what?
This is
just don't hurt me with this.
This is a dark navy.
No, it's not. It's black. Sorry. Okay, I have to disagree with my wife. I'm sorry about that, but the truth is the truth.
We'll talk about it later.
That's why we fight. Yeah. So I didn't ask for that. Woo. Ukraine was kicking the heck out of Putin. I mean, who knew? And suddenly now Russia bombs the hell out of Kiev for revenge. I mean, Russia is getting. Listen, they're both. Trump is right. It's a stupid war. It was done because of Joe Biden saying, well, make it a small war. You know, what a dumb ass. And people were dumb for listening him, for letting him be a president. He caused a lot of death in that area with Ukraine and with Russia. And we have our next, we have our next guest on, and he's always has a lot to say. And 99.9% of it is great. The other 0.5% not so hot, but no, that's much better than I can do. He is an author and he's a Marxist and communist expert, fighting rhinos in Wyoming every day, and he will work for pizza. Welcome, all the way from wherever the hell he lives. I think it's Missouri. Chris Adamo. Hi, Chris. How's it going?
We'll work for pizza. Well, we all have our price, I guess. So,
well, you're an Italian guy, right?
Yeah. Now we're going to start with the stereotypical. You're being insensitive. I'm a victim now. I'm a victim.
You're in Wyoming.
I'm not in Wyoming.
You're an Italian. You love pizza. You're involved in politics.
I'm an American.
Okay, where did your ancestors come from? Are you ashamed of your ancestors?
My ancestors originally came from the Garden of Eden, but
come on, see
do you see the 250 there? You see that? All my notes I wrote. You see the red 250? It dawned on me with all the stuff.
Mine came over from the Ukraine.
You came from Ukraine?
Originally Israel. Wow. You could say that. We're very proud of that.
And guess where they came from? The Garden of Eden. See, and either that, or you could say Mount Ararat if you want to say that's where we all came from. Descendants of Noah.
I'm pretty sure you've been to court and you've been questioned about this. So were you? Was any of your family?
Let's talk about courts. Let's get down to business and talk about courts.
In what we know is today, Italy.
I was never there.
Okay. I didn't ask you that.
I was born in Wyoming.
Who was your? You were embarrassed by your relatives. This is
not
really
a bit. Not a bit.
Oh my gosh!
They were New Yorkers back when New Yorkers were cool. This is back around the turn of the century. They came through Ellis Island. They did it legally. They became American citizens. When my grandparents got here, the first thing they did was teach their kids to speak
What year
English.
were they? What year did they get
my
to?
grandparents came through about 1906, and
my grandfather was 1909.
So I'm more American than you are by 3 years. Then
I wouldn't doubt that they are. I wouldn't doubt that you are.
No, let's talk about.
And amazingly, you're not a rhino.
Amazingly. I don't know. I'll think about that. Let's talk about, first of all, we got to talk about courts and citizenship.
Yes, sir.
We've got to talk about this because what we saw this week was an abomination against the people of the United States of America. And my question is, and I ask this very sincerely, at what point do so-called justices on the Supreme Court, at what point do they get cover for committing outright treason? Now, let me give you an analogy to this. If on December 8th, 1941, if we had 5 justices who were just as corrupt, just as toxic as those 5 that gave this birthright citizenship away this week, if on December 8th, 1941, if they had said any Japanese person who comes within the borders of America is an American citizen, and so all those pilots at Pearl Harbor were actually Americans, and so we didn't get attacked by the Japanese, so we're going to tell Roosevelt he can't commit America to war. He can't declare war on Japan, so we have to sit there and let them invade. Now, if they had done something like that, is that really any more treasonous than this abomination that these people committed this week? And I want to give you a quote.
Oh, I don't. You asked a question. Let me.
Well, I think the question is self-answering.
Well, it isn't. It isn't, because we're talking about pregnant women sent by other countries that they are allegedly a part of and not a citizen. They're not citizens.
That's my point. They're not citizens any more than those Japanese pilots.
But they say they can make citizens of their children. You see.
Let me give you the quote of Roberts. Let me give you. I know we agree on this, but I'm pumped about this one because this is an abomination. Let me give you this quote of John Roberts. Okay.
Yes.
Now he says, "Citizenship then and now is the right to have rights." Now, first of all, I got to ask you. First of all, he's trying to sound Jeffersonian and, soaring oratory. Does that sound, I'll read it to you again. Does that sound like Thomas Jefferson, George Mason, or Kamala Harris?
No, it sounds like a Supreme Court that wants to terribly get rid of this issue. And it was a 5-4.
And we can look at who the
Congress to take it over.
That's the latest excuse for kicking the can down the road.
That's right. They're kicking the can down.
What they want to say is until Congress takes this over, because we don't think we think we can stall things in Congress because they're hoping for the midterms to go in the direction of the Democrats, and maybe Congress at that point will say, yeah, citizenship. Anybody who ever steps a toe inside of America is under the jurisdiction of America, so they're citizens. Okay. But again, listen to this quote. Citizenship then and now is the right to have rights. Okay. Does that sound like Kamala Harris? That's pablum. The right to have rights. First of all,
I agree with that. I'm agreeing with that.
I know you are. I'm just
okay.
Okay.
But the benefits of this is now Trump can do just about anything to stop illegal aliens to come to this country. He can.
But if
let the leash out. Let his leash out, and he can take these people out that are not citizens who happen to be pregnant with non-citizen children.
But that at this point, when you consider the total betrayal of the Biden-Obama years, or 21 to 25, where they let in how many 20 million? Okay, so what you're talking about is right. We can close the barn door, but guess what? The horses are already out. Okay, and therein lies the real problem. Is we have how many tens of millions of people that are already here that shouldn't be here, that
Yeah.
are already, you and I are paying the bills for them to eat and get medical care. They get medical care, they get better treatment than American citizens. And these people are saying, well, they deserve it because they came across the border and broke the law and had a baby here. Okay, now, if we're going to deal with this stuff, we've got to deal with it not only in the present, which what you're describing is fix this, but retroactively. We've got to go back and say the people that are here, if these people are here, if they came in here illegally, they go home because they are not citizens. Now, if Roberts is going to confer citizenship onto any baby born here, that doesn't. There's nothing in the 14th Amendment that says
that's right. He doesn't get to do that.
Well, he'll do whatever he can get away with.
Well, I don't think he's going to be getting away with this.
Well, and that's why I'm fired up here because, again, at what point do we say that if you're colluding with the enemies of America, at what point do we say, you know, that does exceed the standard of treason?
You're going to try to impeach a Supreme Court?
That's never happened. That's something we've never done.
With the majority, possibly, of people, maybe as some of the now I don't know if this could ever get done because it is a 60-40 vote that you got to get, but 61, I guess, and but you got to get maybe you're going to get enough Republicans in that are disgusted, like you are, like I am, and get this thing changed, and maybe even get a Supreme Court justice kicked out.
The first thing we've got to do, and I'm being pragmatic here, I'm not disagreeing with you in any respect. The first thing we got to do in that direction is make this a campaign issue. Now, the primaries haven't happened yet in most of these congressional races. Primaries are coming up in about the next 2 months. We have got to make this a litmus test. That's a bad word, according to the moderate Republicans. We make this a litmus test for anybody who runs as a Republican. Are you going to stand against this? Because if we don't do that, again, we're leaving the enemy within our midst. We get some rhino in there that says, well, I don't feel like we should be so extreme on this. And before long, they're validating the Democrats.
Well, and you're absolutely right about that.
So let's make this.
And Trump is going to do this. He has talked about it now.
Let's make this the number one campaign issue of the primary season.
But right now, as the
2026.
president, he is allowed to take out illegal aliens. That's his right. And he's allowed to use federal forces to do this, called ICE.
He's not merely allowed to do it. He has a responsibility to do it. And again, we know Trump is big on this, and he's on the right side. Anybody that undermines him is undermining his constitutional responsibility to preserve and protect the Constitution of the United States of America. Okay, the oath that he takes. If they're going to undermine that,
kicked out of their seat, Senate and or
absolutely
Congress.
Absolutely. That's why I said we make this a primary campaign issue, an issue for the Republican primaries. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. You can tell I'm a liar.
You disappeared for a moment. I did that. You copied me. I gave you a break. See, I give you a break every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one again. What I really want to focus on the fact that this is a betrayal with the potential to destroy America. Now, I'm sure you've been watching the things that have been going on in Europe with the Islamists moving in, and if you're in England right now, if the courts, the so-called justice system, the legal system, is basically taken over by Islam, and so if you try to fight the Somali or the Pakistani rape gangs, you try to fight any of this stuff, the court system, the legal system is against you. They had a woman over there in England who was raped, and she spoke out to condemn her rapist.
Yeah,
he got off with a slap on the hand. She got thrown in prison for a hate crime.
Sure.
Now that will happen.
Now they're saying there's a lot of white women, women that are getting raped a lot, and there's a lot of children involved. With, a lot of children trafficking out of this, and in England, if you happen to be Jewish and you say something against the government, they'll throw your sorry tuchus into jail.
Absolutely, and so America needs to wake up, because what we've got is a huge propaganda campaign going on, and typically, unfortunately, too many conservatives, primary season, it's like, well, oh, they're all Republicans. One of them will win, then I'll vote for them in the general. And guess what the leftists figure out? Guess what they if I call myself a Republican and I make it through the primary, then in the general, if it's a Republican state, I'm going to win. I'll give you a horrible example of that. Governor Mark Gordon of Wyoming, lifelong Democrat, moves to Wyoming, calls himself a Republican, says a few of the right things during the campaign season. He's at the end of his second term right now, okay, because he got there for 2 terms and governed like a Democrat, but he calls himself a Republican. He got a pass. Okay, now this is the key. If I'm talking about you and me, conservatives like us, if we are passive during the primary season and only get involved in the last few days of the general election season, we follow the advertisements and whatever, we're just going to keep voting for the people that, the biggest liars and cheats. And that's how we end up with people like Mark Gordon. And we can go down the list here. So I'm admonishing the audience here, every one of you that's a good patriot that's listening, and everybody that you know that's a good patriot, get involved during the primary season between now and mid-August, when typically most primary elections take place across this country. Get involved, find out who the real conservatives are and who the rhinos are, and boot the rhinos, incumbents or otherwise. Boot the rhinos.
How are we going to stop all the cheating?
Boot the rhinos. Okay, we've got to get in there and make sure that those who go along with the cheating, or those like John Thune who just turn a blind eye to it and we'll get around to it sooner or later. We got to make sure
that's a key. I mean, obviously it's a key.
It is, but it's not happening. And until we do that,
you're the second guy to tear apart John Thune. And so who would they have gotten other than him to do this?
I'd have to go look down the ranks. There's an awful lot. We've got a lot of ground to retake. And if you go back to my book, I told you I had added an entire chapter there after I was writing about the Democrats and leftists. And then I said, wait a minute, who is the fifth column that's operating behind our lines to undermine us, that at crucial moments, and this SAVE Act is a great example, at a crucial moment when we need the Republicans to rally and do the right thing, all of a sudden we can't find but a handful of them. What that proves to you unequivocally is the rest of them are turncoats. They're liars. They are not Republicans. I don't care how good they sound when they're campaigning.
And they're for cheating.
They're okay with cheating.
Just make them put on a little thing on there. Well, and then now we're talking about stuff where you put numbers on arms. No, I don't want to do that.
We do this
and make it loud and clear that these people want to cheat.
Okay, and I get called out on that because you're absolutely right. We're not talking about putting tattoos on people's arms so they can go to a concentration camp. But what I say, and I deliberately use a term, I say they need to be indelibly tagged as rhinos. Okay, now what I mean by that is not a physical tag. I mean, you've heard me say it before, every campaign season, your worst rhinos suddenly morph miraculously into the second coming of Ronald Reagan. Yeah, and they stay that way until exactly 5 minutes after the polls are closed on primary day. Yeah. They say all the right things. Everybody goes, oh, he's really not so bad. I can show you John McCain sounding like the best border hawk in the world because he was running against Dr. Kelly Ward, who was a grassroots conservative. His campaign outspent hers by, I believe, 10-1 because she was connecting with the people. But 10-1, they bought the campaign, and so he won the primary. And immediately afterwards, there's John McCain right in there with every other Democrat pushing for open borders and all this stuff. But during that crucial period, he sounded really like a good border hawk. And that's why I say you indelibly tag them. You make sure every time that somebody like that opens their mouth and sounds good and conservative, you get out there and you say, here's what they said last week. Here's what they said last year. And that way they don't, number one, they don't escape the fact that that's their past. Number two, by the way, on top of not meaning what he's saying right now, you need to recognize that if this guy will be such a bald-faced liar as to flip during primary season, you can't trust him on anything.
Yeah. Well, what about Trump? Do you think he's going after him as much as he should? I think I kind of think he's having a lot of success during the early voting right now.
I hope so.
And he's getting a lot of people that he wants as the Republican in that particular seat. And so far he's almost 100% in it.
Well,
and he talked about it a lot. He says, we got to do this. This is a big
he's
deal.
absolutely right. Number one, we can't be electing traitors. An enemy next to you in the trench can do much more damage than 50 people across the field shooting at you. And this is the way we've been fighting for the last at least 4 decades. And that's why we've been losing. Okay. Well, this guy says he's a Republican, so that's better than having a Democrat in there. And this Republican is campaigning. Yeah, it's not. At times it can be worse.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about something else we haven't brought up. It's a big item in the news, and it's been absolutely wonderful. And this is, again, it's looking to be another genius move by Donald Trump. And this is this whole world soccer thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the significance of this. We've got to, we're enjoying it. These people coming in from around the world, and all of a sudden they're seeing the real America as opposed to what they've been hearing.
Yeah.
And they're shocked by it, and they love America. And all of a sudden, it's like the reality is so much different. Here's the problem. This itself is proof of that leftist Alinsky strategy. And it's also Joseph Goebbels from Nazi Germany. You tell a big enough lie for long enough, people will believe it. Okay.
Right.
So these people are saying two things. If you listen to these foreigners from all over the world, they're saying, number one, this is a great place. The people are great. The freedom is great. The food is great.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing, though, they're saying is, why did we have such a horrible opinion of it? Okay. That's the message that we need to give them to take back home. You had such a horrible opinion of it because your fake news in your country, BBC or German, I forget the German media, the state media, they have been lying to you. Okay. The rest of the world needs to understand. Look around you at what you've got. You're overtaken by Islamists, the rape gangs taking your daughters. You're overtaken by all this horrible stuff. And yet you're hearing that it's really bad in America, and you come here and it's not. You've been lied to. You need to tell your fellow citizens we're being lied to. Okay. If I was Trump, I would work on something next year to have some sort of a similar program of bringing people in from around the world into America to see what it's really like here.
Well, it's very interesting. He did the fights, the cage fights on the premise of the White House.
Oh, yeah. And the leftists were having a meltdown over that.
They were having a meltdown. And also there was a possible assassination attempt being worked on there, which they caught up with, thank God. But still, they put the whole thing on with it got a lot of views on it.
Yep.
And sports is the way to do it, I think. Look at these soccer players. Who wants to listen? I'm a big fan of sports in general. In fact, Brazil can give me credit for the 1999 victory because I was the one that gave them a quote that their coach used. Brazil. And there was a story about it in Reader's Digest.
You're in Reader's Digest?
Oh, 16 times at least.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not a writer as good as you, but I have a lot of stuff.
Well, that's great, and that's what we need to be doing. All joking aside, Dave, that is what we need to be doing.
Okay.
No, but I mean, you and I banter quite a bit about things.
Yeah.
But the truth is that we need to be speaking out. Go back to Goebbels, go back to the Alinsky strategy. If I can mock you enough for speaking out, maybe you'll shut up. Too many people on our side fall for that.
Well, that's why I'm on a show for 18 years.
And that's what we need to be doing. It's absolutely what we need to be doing. Now, I want to take all of this briefly back to the Wyoming Freedom Caucus because I'm watching the goings on there.
Yeah.
And everything we've just described about, the soccer teams, what they're learning about America and all of this, you're seeing there could be literally a tipping point for Wyoming and for America this election season. and the left is throwing everything. I mean, on a nationwide basis, they're throwing everything at Wyoming to destroy the Wyoming Freedom Caucus. This is. I don't doubt for one second that there's Soros money directly involved in trying to destroy the Wyoming Freedom Caucus.
Why is Wyoming so important? It's not
because it's pivotal. Because it's the one state where the Freedom Caucus has actually developed enough momentum where they can actually turn the tide on this whole leftist agenda. They do it in taxes, in government bloat, in education. They can actually turn these tides. And the biggest fear that the left has is an example of freedom and true market forces versus their Mamdani utopia. If you see the two contrasted, leftists lose. And so their whole thing has been to stifle that. Wyoming, as Republican as it's been since as long as I can remember, Wyoming has still been largely under the influence of the Liz Cheney Republicans. Okay, she's from Wyoming, right? You guys remember that?
Yes.
And that's how the party operated for years, and that's how the political structure operated. However, starting in the early 2000s, and I will tell you, not quite as world influencing as Brazilian soccer, but I was involved in the movement to supplant the rhinos within the Wyoming Republican Party, and eventually people took over, and they're at the point where we could have a conservative legislature, a conservative Wyoming Senate, and a conservative Wyoming governor. Okay. The rhinos are panicking because if you do that in Wyoming, if they lower taxes and improve the schools and people are that much more free, next door in Colorado and Montana, they're going to say, wait a minute, what's going on there? Their crime rates are lower, things are better. It's because the conservatives did it. You think the left is going to take that sitting down? They've got to lie twice as loudly.
They're going to lie. They're going to cheat. They're going to do whatever they can to
absolutely because
power. There's no doubt about it.
Truth and American principles for success are the biggest enemy that the left faces, and so they are doing everything they can right now. You talk about the Alinsky attack.
Do you know how long this has been going on?
It's really coming to a head now because in Wyoming again, the conservatives are not taking this sitting down. They're standing up and saying that here's who we are, here's who we really are, here's what we stand for. And this is exactly why they attack us. And you have every kind of phony sanctimony from rhinos and from leftists. And by the way, that's two of the same thing, two sides of the same coin, attacking the Wyoming Freedom Caucus and saying, they're against children. Why are they against children? Well, because they don't want to throw more good money after bad down the dumpster fire of the public school system. They want accountability. They want actual improvement in the schools. And again, the common citizen, here in Missouri, if they hear taking money from the schools, oh, that's going to hurt the children. No, it's not, because you have two different philosophies there. The ones who want to see the kids succeed, they believe that the schools are there for the sake of the children. The bureaucracy, the Missouri Education Association, the National Education Association, the Wyoming Education Association, those are teachers' unions. They believe the children are there for the sake of the school institution. So it can be as bloated and free to indoctrinate as it wants to be.
You're talking unions. You're talking teacher unions there, right?
Teachers' unions are about teachers' money and teachers' power. They're not about kids. And if you doubt me, read their platforms.
Well, and you're looking at all these grades going down.
Exactly.
With more teachers. How does that happen?
Well, think about it now. Think about it. If as long as the grades go down, they get to ask for more money and hire more teachers. Do they have an incentive to actually make grades go up?
They use their losing way of teaching as an attribute to get more money.
Dave, please keep saying this as loudly as you can. This is the biggest dirty secret of 2026 America, is the trillions that have been thrown into public education, and it keeps getting worse. And the point being that, that you incentivize failure at that point, because if they start fixing it, they can't ask for more money. It's just that simple. You're absolutely right.
God, I love it when you say that.
Okay. I say that a lot. I say that a lot. Now,
have you ever said that to me? Never. JP hasn't never said that to me.
Sure, I have.
Oh, sure.
You must tell him he's wrong. You've said it.
I put crickets on. That's what. Yeah. Give me a little love here.
I will say I have agreed with you, because in the past you told me how good do of producing this show. I completely agree with you. So
I'm watching the clock here.
Shut your mic off. What? You're watching the clock here.
Yeah, there's something we've got to get to.
Oh,
because,
look at how much time you've used.
Well,
that's amazing.
I'd stay on for 2 hours if you let me, and I wouldn't shut up for a second because there's so much going on. But let's take at least a few minutes to talk about, and in the context of everything else we've discussed, let's talk about what tomorrow represents. Tomorrow, and we haven't discussed it because it's like we're in the midst of a war. Tomorrow is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. That's a quarter of a millennium.
Yeah.
Okay. And those principles, now I'll be honest with you, a little fatalistic here. We're existing on the momentum of those principles right now because they aren't universally accepted because they're being so undermined. But we had a nation. It wasn't founded on, okay, we're perfect. It was founded on, we are going to use the best methods we can, government of, by, and for the people. And in the words of George Washington, those people need to have their morality founded on what he at the time called religious principle. He's talking about Judeo-Christian principles of the nation's founding. We're going to do this to maximize righteousness, justice, which means we maximize freedom. And guess what? When you do those things, guess what happens to your economy? Guess what happens to your livelihoods?
You're looking at it right now.
They flourish.
Yeah.
Okay. And
people
so
want to come live here. I mean, legitimate people that.
Well, listen to those.
Hey, what a great country.
Listen to those people watching the soccer games.
Yeah, exactly.
They're coming here. They're going, this is not at all what I was told it is.
For the Democratic Party right now because they're finding out the truth.
Flag waving, patriotism, and upholding the true founding ideals of America. Think about the fact that that's become a partisan issue. What does that say about the Democrats? If they say that's partisan, which sometimes they even admit that's partisan, patriotism is partisan. What that means is treason is on the left.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it's been this way since way before the Civil War.
It has, and the Civil War itself was proof that we did not found a perfect nation. What we founded was a nation that sought very diligently to advance the principles that would lead us to, we're never going to get perfect. Nothing this side of heaven ever will be, but it would lead us in the direction of improving, of what Jefferson called a more perfect union.
That people were equal. No, it didn't do it for blacks for a while, but the Civil War allegedly was supposed to take care of that, and Amendment 14 was supposed to take care of just that.
Just that.
And it's been misinterpreted by the court.
It was not misinterpreted. It was lied about. Okay. I get your point, but let's call it what it is. Okay. The 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment was never about allowing procreating invaders to have free access to our country. Never. That's an abomination. That's a betrayal. The 14th Amendment was about slaves who had been brought here, who had been subjected to the jurisdiction thereof right out of the 14th Amendment. They've been subjected to that and were made to comply to that during the initial generation and subsequent generations. And at that point, they had been brought here. Yes, they were granted. They were the citizenship that they should have been granted in the first place. Okay, so that was the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment should have been totally sunsetted the moment the last slave ever gave birth, the last new slave coming to this country ever gave birth, because from that point forward, its purpose was done. The 14th Amendment has been used in the same way that the Commerce Clause has been used, not by constitutionists, but by activists to say, can we find a loophole? Okay. The 10th Amendment says that the things not specified in the Constitution as powers of the government, they go to the states. So they took the Commerce Clause. They said, hey, if it involves interstate commerce, Congress is in charge of that. We can ignore the 10th Amendment because if any way it involves interstate commerce, Congress can take over. That's how the federal government bloated beyond recognition. Okay, but in the same sense, the 14th Amendment, it's not how do we uphold the rights of Americans who have been brought here against their will. It's how do we use the 14th Amendment to advance this leftist, Marxist, globalist agenda of invading the borders with foreigners.
Okay, my friend. I have my next client.
Thank you, JP. See, I like JP.
Selling the book Rules for Defeating Radicals. Other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find you and buy your book?
It's still at Amazon. It still needs to be read because we're still playing a defensive game because the left manipulates us into that when we need to go on offense. Now, having said that, if you're an American, wave your flag tomorrow. Don't do it with any hesitation. Don't be ashamed. Wave your flag. God bless America.
You know, my wife had to take back her duck eggs. They were all quacked. What do you know from funny, you son of a gun? Okay, thank you so much.
God bless. Happy 250th.
All right. And I got my next guest coming on. How about that? He's right on time, too. He's always very good about that, thank goodness. And he's wearing red, white, and blue.
Yep.
How about that? All right. So my next guests, plural, Mark and Patricia McCloskey, two people struck by history and part of the example that Americans can set as brandished firearms. What the hell happened? You shooting at me, boy?
Wiping dust off.
You shooting at me?
Camera.
Wiping dust off what? My head?
No, I can't.
It was like two shots came to my head.
I had
Am I bleeding? JP, am I bleeding? Oh my God.
I had a Dusty Lens, which is like a name of a Hollywood actor, right? Dusty Lens.
Huh? What?
Nothing. Chris didn't get your joke either.
You're not supposed to drink until I saw the order. You're not supposed to drink until after the show.
There you go.
Okay. So
it is after last Friday.
Trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice to you right now. I am. I really am. So these two people were struck by history, and part of the example to Americans can set as they brandish firearms to fight for their rights, right? Private property. Am I wrong?
You're
Please
right.
welcome Mark and Pat McCloskey. Where are you going to get a better intro than that?
Nowhere on earth.
That's why we're here. All right, it's over. It's over. No, we're not.
Unfortunately for you and me, Patty's not here today. Not even the kibitz. So,
that's terrible. Yeah. So if you get me getting into trouble with words, I'm a little older than you, is one thing. You are going to have a really tough time because JP and I will try to help.
Yeah, I know.
We'll try to help the youngsters in the.
Your wife's there too, right? She can help out.
My wife is not there. She's gotten up and left the room since you came on. I have no idea why.
I can understand it. My wife's not here either today.
Well, it could be for other reasons, and then she just has to go potty or something. I don't know what the hell. I try to stay out of that kind of talk. Anyway,
you know what happened 6 years ago today, Dave? The mob attacked our house on June 28th, which was a Sunday. Friday, July the 3rd, 2020, is when they came back specifically to kill us and burn down the house. And that's when we had, by the time the mob hit the gate that night, we had 6 ex-Navy SEALs, 10 secondary employment cops, with the FBI light aircraft circling the top of the house.
No kidding.
Yeah, we used to call in the Reagan administration peace through superior firepower. And we held off a mob of 1,000 that night. The media didn't pick it up because it was counter-narrative, right? It's kind of hard to call them peaceful social justice warriors when they come in there specifically to kill us.
Yeah, kill you, take your house, rape your wife. That was incredible. What happened to you was the American nightmare of that happening. And not being enforced by other areas, so that these people could be somehow solidified as the actual victims instead of you.
Yeah. Well, and Patty still gets tearful when you talk about this, but here it is, just two nobody lawyers in St. Louis having dinner on a Sunday night with their daughter, and they get attacked. And then they come back again on Friday. Yeah. We couldn't, specifically to kill us and burn down the house. We couldn't get any private security because nobody wanted the bad press, right? But we had gotten a call from the White House on Tuesday, the day after, the 2 days after the first event, And the gentleman said, the president wants to express his support. If there's ever anything we can do for you, let us know. Well, now it's Thursday night, July the 2nd. The mob's coming back the next day to kill us. We couldn't get any private security. We were, gotten fire extinguishers everywhere around the house and all that sort of stuff. But I called that number back up at the White House, and I said, you remember last Tuesday when you said if there's ever anything you can do for us, give us a call? Well, now's a pretty stinking good time, okay? And so he gave me Mark Meadows' cell phone number, and I got a hold of Mark, and then the next call I made was to Tucker Carlson. Tucker put the air live and said, I'm talking to Mark McCloskey. I can hear Mrs. McCloskey sobbing in the background, and the mob's coming back tomorrow to kill him, and if we don't do something, they're going to get killed. Well, to make a very long story short, by the time the mob hit the gate the next night, we had, like I said, 6 ex-Navy SEALs, 10 secondary employment cops. We had the FBI on the watch. About 2:30 in the morning, one of the SEALs knocks me down. And I said, what's going on? And he said, well, we were scoping some of the surrounding high-rises, and we saw somebody scoping back. We thought you're about to get taken out. Right then, his radio goes off. Turns out it was an FBI sniper doing cover for us. And I mean, here's
you've mentioned that, and you've never gone into the details until now.
Yeah. But this is what always gets Patty tearful. I mean, here's just two ordinary people. It requires the president of the United States intervening in St. Louis on a Friday night to keep us from getting our asses killed.
That's never in the story.
No.
There was a blurb in some on Facebook about you reminiscing what you went through with pictures. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I talked to the reporter from Fox. I told him the story about what happened the next Friday. It never makes the press.
Yeah, why not?
I guess it's counter narrative. I guess that even Fox has to portray this as, like your intro, two people against a mob. We got arrested for that, right? But when I had a whole army there with machine guns and everything, that was okay.
Yeah, yeah. But that's my problem with even Fox, is they're controlled and they can't say the news as they see it. Even Gutfeld is probably controlled to a certain point, and he's pretty out there.
Every word they say on Fox and Friends in the morning is scripted for them. They don't have it. There's no ad-libbing.
Yeah, and you hear the repetition of it all day long. Richard C. Jeffrey, we are in a Marxist revolution. He is a guest and a friend from Chicago area. So what's going on with the 1-6ers? Have you been taking anyone in the DOJ or talking to anybody like that? Trump administration, Trump himself?
I have not. I've been putting calls in again to everybody that I know in the administration, everybody whose personal cell phone I have. It's crickets out there. We've got a lawsuit on file out in Utah, which the government's going to have to answer by August the 13th. And I'm hoping to finally get an assistant U.S. attorney that I can talk to about that. But, 18 senators sent a letter to the DOJ yesterday, Dick Durbin and Adam Schiff and all these leftists, demanding that the DOJ identify how many FS-95s, the documents you have to file to start your federal tort claim, how many SF-95s have been filed, whether the government has taken any action, whether money's been paid. They quote me without quoting me from an article that I did in the Hill or Politico, I can't remember which.
What's a 95? What is that?
Oh, yeah. In order to file a federal lawsuit against the federal government, you have to do what's called exhausting your administrative remedies. That means you have to give the agency an opportunity to settle with you if they want to. To start that process, you file a federal document called an SF-95 or its functional equivalent. That gives the agents against each federal agency that you're complaining of. Then the agency has 6 months to decide whether to pay your claim, deny your claim, or do nothing. If they do nothing after 6 months, then you get 6 months to file a lawsuit against the United States of America. But filing the SF-95 is a prerequisite for that. I did that hand-delivered about 400 different people's SF-95s to 5 different agencies each last December 10th. It was cold in D.C. that day, I can tell you that. But I delivered them to the loading dock at the Justice Department Civil Rights Division, and watched them, made sure they got passed through the metal detector, stood right there and made sure that somebody from the DOJ came down and recognized they had them so they couldn't just run them through the shredding machine. But
you got your own. You had to get your own witnesses. Don't you trust your government?
Do you trust your government?
Hell no. Hell no.
Hell no. You know what they say about, you can tell they're lying because their lips are moving.
Yeah.
You can tell they're lying because it's on the air, with the exception of you and me.
I got Hardwick coming on the show. Bill Hardwick.
Yeah.
How did you like being interviewed by those guys?
Well, I always give all the leftist newspapers and magazines an interview because they don't like it. And when I was running for Senate, I can't remember, I think it was Politico, did about an hour-long interview with me about China. And I happen to know a little bit about China. And they wanted to make me look like an idiot, right? They spend, they never published the article. So I always liked doing the left.
Unbelievable. You never told me this. How can you tell me this on the air where people can listen and they can't shut me down? Well, they can.
Yeah,
they have.
Yeah.
Anyways, thoughts about, here's an important thing. Barack Obama's amazing $800 million for his library in Chicago. Even the liberals claim it's the ugliest building ever. Now, you are an expert at great old buildings, and this is made as like a great old building or something. Why isn't there any screaming about this?
Well, maybe there was a building like it in Rome after the barbarians raided and sacked Rome, right, and burned everything down and hacked it up. But if you got 1,000 architects together and you offered them $20 million for the ugliest project you could possibly imagine, no one could come up with something as ugly as that. I mean, it is exactly what the questioner just said: Marxist revolution in America. There's nothing that the left likes more than ugliness because it teaches people to have low expectations. And one of the things that disappoints me about now King Charles of England, and one of the things that made me happy about Donald Trump, King Charles, when he was Prince Charles, used to be an advocate for traditional architecture. Now he's gone all woke on us. And Donald Trump has always been an advocate for big, beautiful things.
Yeah.
His taste is questionable in my mind, but his heart's in the right place.
Who, Trump?
Yeah, Trump. What
are you talking about?
Trying to make DC beautiful again, when he builds things like his ballroom, which I think is excessive and unnecessary and all those kinds of things. But it's going to be classical in design, which I like.
Okay. Well, you can be a critic of that because I'm not very good at that, but still, I know that you have a very interesting home that you live in.
Yeah.
I don't know how you ever got that deal, but that was the deal of the century right there.
It was, and when we bought that house, it had essentially no functioning plumbing. The electricity was sketchy to say the least. The roof, the concept of a roof of the last owner was buckets on the third floor. And we spent now 38 and a half years working on it. And it's still, but there was a time in America when people with wealth and power, instead of creating NGOs that encourage leftist activities and, Gay Pride Week and all that kind of stuff, they spent their money making the country beautiful. And like Andrew Carnegie building libraries for everybody, free libraries throughout the country. Sure. And the Rockefellers and the DuPonts and the Morgans all did the same thing. And the Vanderbilts particularly left great architecture.
Yeah.
And the Bush family left some great architecture too, including the house I live in now. And as I've said frequently to everybody, one of the great things about the decay of Western civilization is that somebody like me can live in a palace like mine.
Yeah, and that's what things are all about. It doesn't matter who you are. You're supposed to be equal, have equal opportunity.
Yeah.
Is that not what you're for? I mean,
absolutely.
We're all for that.
Absolutely. Equal opportunity under the law. That nobody should get a hand up, nobody should get pushed down. Everybody should be allowed to do the best they can with what God gave them.
Yeah, and yet, there's still an argument out there. Charlie Kirk was arguing with a black guy. I saw it a couple days ago. I was going to put it in the show, but it was too late. And he was arguing with a young black guy who said he was in favor of DEI, and Charlie said, "Well, why?" He says, "Because we are black and we are being picked on and we're doing this and that and that." He says, way back in the 60s, blacks were Republican, and then Johnson came in, and you had the civil rights thing, and then all of a sudden, the American black family was destroyed. And how did that happen? Because they didn't need the men anymore. They got money from the government. The men were there and gone.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting to hear this guy keep fighting for the fact that he is discriminated against and deserved to be ahead of everyone else, despite the fact he didn't have the evidence to show for it.
Yeah.
Well, that's hurt America. That's hurt the black communities. That has hurt them, and they're figuring this out right now.
It's one of the two main things that's hurt the black community. The other is this, the things that Louis Farrakhan would promote, this black nationalism, where they're supposed to be separate and they're not supposed to meld into American culture. They're supposed to be culturally different, and at the same time have this welfare state. One of my undergraduate degrees is in sociology, and back in those days, one of the things which was most prominent was, as you say, the lack of family structure in the black community, that the women raise the children, typically grandmothers raise the kids. The guy showed up once a month to take the welfare check, and it caused a total disintegration of the core family values amongst African Americans in this country.
Yeah,
it's just gotten worse over time. The percentage of single family homes in the black community is gigantic, and and then they abandon the raising of their children to the educational system, which isn't an educational system because the majority of people get out of high school without being able to read or write or do simple math. But what it is an indoctrination system telling them why they should be angry because of the evil white people that put them down.
Did you ever read Farrakhan's magazine called Roots?
I have not. No.
He actually mentioned me in that.
Did he really?
Yeah, as a pesky Jew.
Pesky Jew. I like that phrase.
Well, pretty good. I kind of liked it. I still do. Todd Blanche, you were all over Bondi. Now he's the new head. And so far, what? Crickets?
As far as my issue, yes. But as far as everything else goes, I think he's doing a good job. I think that Trump has got a good pick. I don't think he's got any chance at all of getting confirmed because even the Republicans would be opposed to his being Trump's personal lawyer. I mean, if Ed Martin couldn't get confirmed as a U.S. attorney in D.C. because of his association with the J6 issues, I don't see how Todd Blanche gets confirmed. I wish he would. I think he's a good guy. I think he's doing.
The Republicans are going to vote against him?
Well, Tom, what's his name? Tillis did against Ed Martin, kept him out, and I think he's already said that he'd vote against Todd Blanche. So it's they should have the Republicans until there was some very serious arm twisting last week. Republican senators voted with the Democrats for the War Powers Act, right?
How about Judge Jeanine?
I'll tell you this. I like Judge Jeanine. She's a friend of ours.
Yeah.
And I think she's doing a good job as a U.S. attorney. But I got to tell you this, wanting to give somebody 10 years in prison for picking up a piece of reflecting pool liner that had already fallen off.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty stinking crazy. I think that they got an order from Trump that he was not allowed to be the fall guy for the failed liner for the reflecting pool. So he had to deflect it to evil terrorists that are tearing it up. But this rhino liner that they put in there, you can't cut it. It's tough stuff. If people want to Google it, there's good articles on the web saying that a guy with a knife takes like 500 pounds per square inch of pressure to cut through the rhino liner. And then all this guy did was pick up a piece of it that was already broken free. Didn't take it with him, just held it up to show people looked at it. But you know what? I hate to say this stuff, but I mean, the obvious thing is you can't apply this liner unless the surface is completely and absolutely dry.
Yeah.
And absolutely perfectly clean. So they lay it down on a recently drained reflecting pool. And then Trump and about 20 other vehicles drive his 9,000-pound beast across the newly laid liner right down where it's bonded together in midline. And then, hey, guess what? There's a 350-foot tear in that liner at the midline. Wonder how that happened.
You mean his car was driven down there?
Look it up. Yeah, the beast.
Okay, I'm not calling you a liar.
No. It's true.
I just disagree with you sometimes. That's all.
It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking that he would do such a thing. And I understand that some of his advisors had told him it was not necessarily a great idea. Hang on, let me pull this up real fast.
Yeah.
Trump driving in reflecting pool.
Yeah, okay. I don't remember that. I usually follow the news pretty quickly, but why would he want to do that?
I guess he wanted a picture of himself showing.
How did he get it down there? I mean,
it's only at the edges. It's only 18 inches deep.
Yeah. Okay.
Hang on here. I'll try to get this up for us here.
All right. Well, anyways, I'm going to ask you, since a little on a lighter note of things, have you gone to any Cardinal games lately, or do you go to any? Huh?
Look here. This is Trump. Oh, wrong thing.
Yeah, you mess with your phone.
There's Trump driving.
Is that that's inside the?
That's inside the reflecting pool. There's the beast driving down the new liner. You can't make this stuff up. And then they want to give some Olympic champion 10 years in prison for pulling up a piece of it, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. All right. So, do you go to Danny Cardinal games lately?
I'm not much of a sports fan. I got to tell you.
Oh, okay. But
I'm not very interested in the World Cup. I'm not at all interested in baseball. Used to go on a regular basis, but not for the last 45 years.
Huh. Used to do what?
Used to go. I used to be a regular at the baseball game, particularly like hockey when the Blues are an expansion club.
Yeah.
But with time, I got kind of burned out on sports when I was going to SMU during the heyday of the Mustangs with Eric Dickerson and those guys, because I saw what the level of corruption was at a big football school, and that the football coach made more money than the president of the university, and the guys that were there on football scholarships had everything they wanted, and those of us that weren't football players, we didn't exist on the planet. And when SMU finally got busted by the NCAA, it was for ticket scalping, which is like, after the Battle of the Little Bighorn, saying they're going to find Geronimo because his horse hooves were unshod.
That's pretty good.
On short notice, I just made that one up.
Really?
Yeah.
So you haven't started with the whiskey yet?
No.
The show's not over here,
Yeah, well, it seems like it's dragging on here now. I'm joking.
It's my ass.
Chris
JJ,
Adamo.
I told you not to say that again.
Chris Adamo.
Sorry, Mark. Slip of the tongue.
Oh my gosh.
Chris Adamo never got your duck egg joke. I didn't understand that. I didn't know how they were quacked.
Well, was that bad? I mean,
no, I thought it was a good one.
Oh, he never laughs at anything I do. He's so mad. He's so mad when he gets on. He is.
I
don't have to interview him.
He literally tries to cut the joke short every time, and I think the whole time he's been on, he's laughed twice.
Yeah. And it's only if I give him a Liz Cheney thing, because he's Wyoming. He's Italian. Think about that. Wyoming. What is a Sicilian doing in Wyoming if he isn't in the FBI plan?
That's what it is.
And he's always talking about pizza too, and stuff like that. Today I asked him about that, and he avoided the question. I said, "So what part of Italy did your parents come from?" He said, "Well, they came from Adam and Eve." Yeah. That was the answer.
Well, I'll tell you a little story about that. There was a barber he used to go to, and he had a German name, but he was from Brazil. And at one time, I was getting my haircut, and I said, making a joke, German guy from Brazil, you wouldn't be one of those escaped Nazis, would you?
And he wasn't he?
He was gone the next day. I never saw him again.
Wow. Very interesting. Yes. And I wonder how many of them are left.
Yeah, I don't know. They're supposed to have this giant Nazi submarine base in Antarctica. You keep reading about every once in a while. You wonder if that's real and whether or not we're still keeping that secret.
Well, there are so many secrets. The one secrets that they're beginning to release, though, are the 8 or 9 decades of space travel, space travelers, space aliens.
Yeah.
Do you believe in that?
Well, I do. I've been following that since I was a small child, as a matter of fact. And I think the evidence is overwhelming. There's all kinds of everybody on their deathbed, particularly about Roswell, when they're not worried about getting killed by those lovely people we call the government. I've started, for the last 20 years, telling the truth about Roswell. It's pretty incontrovertible now. But I mean, one of my father's best friends in the Army, my dad was in the Army from 44 until 49, and after the war, he's in the Philippines until 49. And his best friend was a guy that subsequently became a significant guy in the CIA. But he used to stay at our house whenever he'd come through St. Louis. And my mom and I were watching a UFO movie called Hangar 17 about the Roswell bodies being stored at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Yeah.
And he's watching it with us and living in our house. And at the end of it, my mom turns to him and says, "Is this true?" And he says, "The only thing that's not true is anybody that said it wouldn't be alive to say it."
Oh, gee. Amazing. So why?
That's our government.
Okay, it's every government.
It's every government.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just them. And why is Trump then risking himself to give us this information?
Because they're giving us partial information to pretend that they are releasing the
actual facts.
The actual facts. I think the actual facts are so terrifying that that nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to say it. One of the anecdotes that's kind of brushed over in that movie Disclosure Day.
Yeah.
Jackie Gleason and Richard Nixon were good friends, and at some point, Jackie Gleason says, "What we're talking about today, is it true?" Yeah. Nixon takes him out, takes him to where the bodies are, shows it to him, and Jackie Gleason comes out of there white, shaking, and would never talk about it for the rest of his life. And so I think that this is a topic where the reality may be so absolutely terrifying that no one wants to talk about it. No one can talk about it.
1981, 1982, personally, I was living in a duplex here in Rolla, Missouri, and getting divorced for the first time. And it was like July or June, but it was a very hot day, and it was like I was walking in sunshine to my house, and I felt a presence. I turned around, and no more than 100 yards in the air, and maybe 100 yards to the left of me, is this huge metal ship of some kind, because it's off the ground. I didn't hear any noise at all, no windows, no anything, and I'm looking around for anyone else, anyone. Nobody was around, and it seemed to be watching me. I don't know, but why was I there all alone with this object? And I stood there for about a minute and a half, and suddenly, with no noise at all, it was gone.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll never forget that.
And one of hundreds of thousands of people that had a very similar experience. But I guess it's just because you're a pesky Jew right there watching you.
So you had to bring that up, didn't you?
I like that phrase. I'm going to use it a lot now.
Go suck on your whiskey, okay? Go get that. Now I know you're drinking again. You're drinking again. I warned you not to drink on the show. Drink on your own damn show, okay? And by the way, I'm going to do like only one show on, one show off.
Really?
So if you ever want to do a show, let me know.
I'll do that. I'll come
with JP.
I'll come down to Raleigh and do that. You're semi-retired. You're going to do it semi-weekly.
Did you say you're semi-retarded?
No, I said retired.
But SOB.
You know where your brain is.
Look at my offer. Oh my God.
Okay. Well, I do all the smiling and laughing for Chris, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, we get along pretty good, even though you're a schmuck. You know what that means? Oh my God!
I know what a schmuck is.
Okay, he's looking in a mirror right now.
My dad was proficient in Yiddish, and I was raised with it. So,
and I have one more question. Just because you're full of Irish blood and whiskey, what will ever happen to the UK, Ireland, both north and south? because you're an ancestor of where? Ireland.
Yeah,
right?
Ireland. Yeah, well, that war has been going on for 1,000 years. Of course, the IRA that was responsible for the Troubles, it was a leftist organization, still is. They're a communist organization. And so I'm not a big fan of that. But, the Irish have been put down by the English for as long as there's been English. And every time the Irish came up with a new method of making money for themselves, whether it was linens or woolens or vegetables or anything else, the English then did whatever they could to crush them down. But I will say this: the Irish are Greek. Ireland was settled by Greeks that had first emigrated to Portugal in the 3rd century and then to Ireland. And everybody who has a Mick or an O in front of their name, like I do with a McCloskey, originated with a family called the High Neils. High Neils became O'Neills. And everybody that...
it wasn't high heels.
No, it wasn't high heels. They might have been wearing high heels because those Greeks wore dresses, right? Those togas.
God, the room is just filling up with lawyers right now. I got a lawyer over here, a lawyer sitting over there. His wife didn't show up, so I don't have to pay her, which is great.
Yeah.
And I've
you know what 1,000,000 times 0 is?
Zero.
Yeah, exactly.
I got that pretty quick.
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Yeah,
pretty
good to see you.
There he is. That's
how's the Senate race doing?
The campaign's going pretty well. It's a lot of work, as you know.
Yeah,
you got to be at all places at once and do all things at once.
And he's on time. I mean, this is great. This is terrific.
I was actually on another call in the hallway.
I understand that.
No, I go, guys, I gotta go. Dave always says I'm late. So
he was.
I did say that.
A candidate at one time.
Yeah,
I backed him.
It was busy. I can tell you that. And everybody told me retail politics won't work anymore, and I figured I'd go out there, do as many events as possible, and meet as many people. And I found out, well, hell, they were right.
Meeting people's the best part.
Yeah,
you meet all kinds of people. It's the funnest part, I think.
Peter Kinder told me this when I first started running. I think it was Peter Kinder, and he said, the best part about being in politics is it makes you a better person.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I found that to be true for myself.
I think that's true.
If you've got nothing to do, you want to hang out, you can.
No, unfortunately, I'm still working for a living, unlike certain radio hosts and
me. Yeah.
So other than Dave, other than the Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find you and hire you?
Well,
and Lovely Bride.
Our lawsuit is McCloskeylaw.com. My phone number is 314-721-4000. My cell phone is 314-580-3185. I'm on Facebook at McCloskey Mo. I'm at X at McCloskey USA. And you can still see I gave up all my radio time so that I could spend my time 100% on the J6 issues for last year. But you can still catch all my old shows on Rumble.
Okay, well, you'll be back, and we're talking about a little bit of maybe him doing a show here or there, and you and Don doing a show here or there, because I'm going to do every other week now.
You going to?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that'd be fun, Dave. I'd love to do it.
No, I think it's great. These guys did a great job. I mean, I was like in Hawaii and Vegas and all that other stuff, but I was listening when I could, when the times were right, when I could figure out the time schedule and changes. I'd listen. It was a very good job, and JP did a great job with it as well. So
well, I'm going to go. I don't want to cut into Bill's time.
I have one more question for you. You are not excused.
All right. There's no excuse.
I'm acting as a judge here. Why did the Cardinals send their young pitcher down to the minors?
Yeah. Oh, down to the minors.
I'm waiting for the answer.
Oh God. You're when you take
you're worse than Adamo.
I know. I was right over my head.
I wonder if he was a Greek too. He was a lobster. Lobster. Oh, wrong guy. Wrong. Yeah.
There you go. Anyway,
all right.
Take it away, Bill.
Right. Thanks for the laughs.
You take care, guys.
See ya.
See you, Mark.
See ya. Okay. That's funny. Okay, now we're here.
So much funny.
Yeah. All right, we're having a good time here. Platoon captain in Iraq, lawyer, state rep running for the Senate, coaches. Is it judo or is it karate to kids?
I don't coach jiu-jitsu. I practice jiu-jitsu. I'm a jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I'm an athlete, jiu-jitsu guy. I haven't done much last month, but it's jiu-jitsu.
Well, I know that. All right, but I'm giving you credit for.
Yeah, just my son came.
My God.
Yeah.
This is more answer than I needed.
Yeah, I don't want to derail the intro.
My goodness, this guy strives for the truth so much. He
that's
won't
not entirely accurate
until he's sure that the truth has come out. Oh my God, I'm doing another speech for you. Okay, Trump trying to control Israel.
Wait, the applause didn't happen.
Oh.
We didn't do the crown. Okay, cool. Yeah, right. I mean, the guys weren't cued. Thank you.
Give me back the Big Mac card that I pay you.
Actually, Big Mac sounds pretty good.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, I have questions for you too.
Yeah. Wait, yeah. All right. Really cool.
Do you want to answer? Okay, I'll ask some questions for you.
I want to know why the damn things are giving me
feedback.
Waves. Yeah.
It's the EMF radiation. That times 100,000 is a data center, right? So. Okay. Here's my question for you.
Yes.
Yesterday, I went into the Waynesville McDonald's.
Yes.
I was meeting constituents there, and there was no menu in the renovation, and it was totally different. What's the thought process behind that? Why is there no more menus at McDonald's?
They're trying to get people to, and I'm not agreeing with this. We had to do this, okay? We were forced into doing this. Every 20 years or so, we rebuild stores. And suddenly I'm looking at this place, and I couldn't figure it out. Because what they have is these kiosks in there, and you have to contact somebody if you need help.
Right.
All right.
That's like go hey.
Yeah. Exactly. And that shouldn't be. Right. I mean, we've worked on it, and it seems to work. Although, were you pissed off a little bit?
I wasn't. Anger wasn't the emotion, but I walked in and I was like, "Oh, is it open?"
Yeah,
and then I was like, "Wait, is this McDonald's?"
It's like nobody's there, but they're all way in the back.
And then I was like, I guess maybe the menu's still in order.
Yeah.
And then I walked up there, and then I said, can I have my double cheeseburger and stuff and spicy meat chicken? But it was nice. It's a cool looking. The feng shui is cool.
Yeah,
but it was just different. I had to reorient myself to McDonald's.
It's something that says to you they don't want a lot of help anymore. This is a thing for getting rid of
fewer employees
to automate and things like that. But I was shocked when I first got in there.
It threw me off.
It seemed to work when we had people in there, and I haven't had any complaints about it. Normally you'd get a whole lot of complaints because it is doing really good. Unbelievably,
it's one of the busiest McDonald's you have too in Waynesville.
Yeah.
And then I remember the St. Robert McDonald's had the taxidermy, the animals in there.
Yeah,
I used to come after Wednesday night church. We'd go to the St. Robert McDonald's, and I'd sit there and eat my meal while I was looking at all the bobcat and the mountain lion. Remember that?
Yeah,
they had it all. Yeah, that was 30 years ago.
I never saw a quote of mine in there. Yeah, that was in there too. But
a
few quotes here and there. Yeah,
there were some quotes in there.
Yeah, here, you want to read a quote? Look at this.
Those are your quotes.
No, just this one. Look at this. Okay, this guy right here.
Okay.
Now, what does that look like to you?
I don't know.
Try
it with effort. That's how I feel about this campaign. If I can't do my talented way,
it was 1999, 1998. We're having what in soccer? We're having the biggest soccer World Cup. And this guy, he grabbed it out of Reader's Digest.
Yeah.
And it's my quote.
Dave Weinbaum.
And he told all his players about it, and they won the World Cup. So I've been a part of
that's pretty cool.
Winning a World Cup.
You're part of world history now. You're quoted in a World Cup winner.
Yeah.
There'll be a master's.
I'm going to be, and you're going to be president someday.
So. I don't know, president of the Rotary Club, probably.
No, I didn't say that. No, you
go.
didn't say that.
Here you go.
So what other questions do you have for me?
No, I was just curious about the McDonald's. I thought about that and I saw you.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I listen.
Lately, I've been getting a lot of compliments.
It looks good.
And we're in a couple of co-ops. One is the St. Louis co-op. One is the Springfield co-op. It encompasses a lot of different states in both of these co-ops. We're trying to get it combined. I like to get it combined and have them all visit, have the meetings right here in Rolla, Missouri.
Yeah.
And so that way we wouldn't have to travel like crazy.
I'm a McDonald's connoisseur. I've been your number one customer for 40 years. So just so you know.
I appreciate you. Yeah. I appreciate you. It's part
I have, yeah.
It's part of your mental ability to do a lot of things well.
Going to McDonald's.
And to recognize a lot of things that are run right.
I have super respect for you, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends are entrepreneurs, and I love how they get their stories. Everybody's story is interesting. How they started business, how you make the business successful is interesting.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, my need for McDonald's now is like I'm coming home from an event at 10 something at night. And I'm like, I haven't eaten today.
Oh, yeah.
What's open?
No.
So I get a lot of McDonald's, yeah.
We're the store now they do a calculation on these stores as to the whole region. We're talking, maybe 500 stores.
Yeah.
And my stores were like number one in 5 of 10 of the all those other stores. That means we rank nationally in terms of how we operate.
I was talking to somebody about yesterday, Dave Moreland.
Yeah.
He's a chiropractor here in
Yeah,
town.
sure.
We were talking about you, and I was telling him, this Dave Weinbaum owns a store.
He's skinny now.
He is, yeah.
He's trying to break me.
He gave me a book yesterday called Relentless.
Yeah.
About Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
How their mentality shapes their ability to be successful. So I'll be reading that. After 4th of July is over, I'll read that probably tomorrow night,
Yeah.
But and he were talking about, I was like, yeah, Dave Weinbaum knew Ray Kroc,
Yeah.
And I just thought it was so interesting, fascinating. The McDonald's story is fascinating. Your entrepreneurial story is good.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. And yeah. But I mean, that even those quotes you had by the taxidermy, I read those when I was like 12 years old, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Oh, that's cool. Well, and that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to get some time to put this together. I've got a book coming out, 5 Broken Helmets. I actually played first string on Evanston Township High School, 4 games, and I had to fight for every single bit of it, being a 5th string on my senior year and thinking about quitting. Came from that to beat everybody in challenges and in practice following that to become actually the smallest guard and slowest guard in the history of great football school. And I did good, So that's now we're talking about me. Now, what about you?
Okay. Whatever question you want to ask.
Yes. Okay.
The tables have turned.
So Trump seems to be trying to control Israel's response for Hezbollah deadly attacks, which we all know sponsored by Iran.
Right.
All right. Yeah. And do you understand what he's doing there? And can you identify with that? What would you do if you were in Trump's position?
So for one thing, none of us are exactly in the president's position. We don't have the intelligence he has. We don't have the diplomats giving the advice that he has. So none of us are actually precisely in that position. And we can speculate and people can criticize. I think that people say Trump's trying to control Israel's response. Some critics in the United States say Israel is driving the American foreign policy, control Trump. I don't really think either of those things are true. I think that America, because we are so invested in that region, we probably have an interest for what the second and third order effects are of what you do in any country. And, the president trying to broker a peace treaty with Iran, which people are critical of too, right? Because he spent all this money destroying their army and infrastructure.
Yeah.
Now we're going to spend money rebuilding. A lot of critics go, what was that all about? But you're trying to do that. And other things that happen around the world affect that. I experienced that in our own campaign, right? You're trying to do something, and then something that seems unrelated comes and torpedoes you. So I think if America is going to be involved, they have an interest in what happens and what's consistent with those terms of the peace treaty, and what a long-term future looks like. I think that I think we're past the point of this administration being isolationist or not getting involved in these geopolitical hotspots like the Middle East. I think that America, if they're going to go, and we do have a national interest in the Strait of Hormuz. We have a national interest in Iran's terror in the region, their hegemonic ambitions. So I think we have an interest in how other countries respond. That doesn't mean we control Israel, and Israel shouldn't control us either. That means that there is in our national interest to have a discussion about how our allies respond to something to make sure we're working in concert with each other. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Well, I talked to the rabbi earlier and asked him about that, and he said, yeah, there was a lot of maybe yelling even at each other, and and he says there seems like they're settling down now, and Netanyahu is cooling off, and the president is cooling off, but you have to understand that we have the Israelis have a right to live, and if somebody attacks them, like Hezbollah, you can't just let them kill Jews in knowing that's from where? That's from Iran,
right?
You can't just let them come in and kill Jews without a response.
I agree with that. So that those are principles of ecosystems biology. So a human life, wants to live and defend itself. And and we talk about human rights. One of the basic human rights is you have a right to defend yourself and not be killed. And I think Israel has a right not to be wiped off the map like Iran wants it to be. That's my position. Now politically, Israel has changed a lot, their view in America. And I think you can criticize any government, but I think the country has a right to defend itself. There's also a principle in biology that you put two fighter fish or two alpha males in the same room, they're going to fight.
Yeah.
That just always happens. Think about that, and this happens to me. And I don't think I fight, but man, whenever I get into a group of people, there's somebody who attacks me somehow, right? Challenges me. It's just like a natural phenomenon. Netanyahu, who was a commando and who's been fighting for his country's life, and Donald Trump, who's not going to be subservient to anybody for any brief amount of time. Those guys are bound to clash and have screaming matches. Sure. It's just a natural part of it. That doesn't mean that we're not going to work something out and figure out how we have commonality.
Well, they're both pretty damn smart. Let's put it that way.
They're both smart. They're both alpha personalities.
Trump has a lot of things in his mind that we probably don't know about. That, he's got a bigger picture of what this could be. And this could be solving one of the hugest ancient battles since Israel was made about 3,300 years ago.
Yeah, longer than that.
Yeah.
I think they say Trump's playing 3-dimensional chess, 4-dimensional chess.
Yeah.
We have to. This is what I try to do. There's a problem. Everybody kicks the can down the road. It's really painful.
And this has been kicked down the road forever.
Since the World War II, essentially. Yeah. Since the creation of the Iranian state, post World War II. So Trump's taking it head on. People don't like it. They say you did it the wrong way. That's the way I feel about stuff. But I'm trying, right? You can criticize, you can attack, but I tried. And he's trying, and he's doing. I'm doing. Everybody who does is going to get attacked. So you have to address that. But the resolution in Iran, including the energy issue, also directly affects the Russia-Ukraine war.
Sure.
It also directly affects our future with China.
Mm-hmm.
It reflects what we're going to do with Greenland.
Mm-hmm.
It reflects Venezuela.
Yep.
The way the world is now.
It's a big thing.
With international energy markets.
It's not just the one
That's
thing.
Right.
You're exactly right.
And alliances that exist a lot like they did before World War I. When Trump is putting pressure one place, he's putting pressure lots of different places.
Sure is.
And so the resolution to the war with Iran affects our ability to resolve what's happening in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. And it also affects our pressure points with things like the artificial islands off China, with what eventually is going to happen with South and North Korea once again when that flares back up. So we have to. There's global international alliances, international trade routes, and trade reciprocity between countries. So when we're reframing that for decades to come, that's a good strategy. But as much as I don't want to go to war, I don't want any American to die, period. Right. I don't want any American to die, period. But if I analyze it, I see the logic in saying, in the long term, we have to have Iran off the chessboard as a threat, especially with what's about to happen with artificial intelligence and technological revolution and encryption. Those are all changing. And to have Iran have a nuclear weapon and be able to use that force multiplier to multiply their aim around the world, that's very dangerous. So taking them off the chessboard and making them so the Ayatollah is not controlling that energy supply in a certain way is very smart for our long-term proposition.
But interesting you mentioned the Ayatollah, because now suddenly he has a funeral and it's a week long. And there's a threat from their government to say, we're going to take a week and we're going to, have a funeral and all that stuff. And you better not attack us. And Israel better not attack Hezbollah. So he's thrown it right back. They're throwing it right back in USA's face. And this is a seemingly strategy that they have. Now they can take every mullah now, every officer that and celebrate their funeral, maybe a 2-week funeral, maybe a month. They can drag this out forever. So at a certain point, they're gonna Trump's got to do something.
The old rules are not there, and the way we fight war with technology is different than it was definitely in previous conflicts. Pete Hegseth was taking criticism because they said you're attacking civilian targets and infrastructure. And he was saying, we're in a war. Our objective is to make the enemy submit to us. That's what Clausewitz said. You're using force to deprive the enemy of their means of victory. That includes critical infrastructure like bridges and energy supply routes. So the Iranians are really, Iran was one of the strongest militaries in the world, and they're really sneaky, right? They're doing things underground. There's a tradition in the Middle East to hiding behind civilian targets, right? Pinning arms and munitions under schools and hospitals and tunnels, hiding behind children. That's something that we faced, in Iraq when I was there. That people they'd shoot at you, they'd have a kid in front of them.
Yeah,
and so you're like,
they'd have bombs on the kid.
They'd have bombs on a kid.
Yeah,
and we're Americans, right?
Yeah,
and that was a dilemma that I could recall. We were like,
what the hell's this?
What do I do?
Yeah,
that strategy is being played out there in Iran too. There's deception and there's using like our restraints against us.
Yeah.
So how do you fight a war like that? It's very tricky. But the enemy gets a vote, but you can't let the enemy dictate on their terms how the battle's being fought.
Right.
But as long as if we get an end state where Iran does not have a nuclear weapon and they stop attacking Israel and they're not shutting off or turning on the Strait of Hormuz arbitrarily at their will, then that's not necessarily a bad thing for us. But I prefer, and I think President Trump would prefer, not speaking for him, a total regime change in Iran. It just seems like the Iranian people did not have the will or the ability. They might have the ability because they're disarmed, right?
Yeah,
because they're
exactly.
because every time they rise up, they get mowed down by machine guns. They might have the will to effectuate that regime change. But the most positive end state, I think, for America and the Western world is that the Ayatollah regime be dethroned and a democratic or a different type of a secular Iran or Iran that's not hostile.
Bring the Persians back.
Yeah, just not hostile to Israel and the West.
The Persians love Israel. They love the USA.
Well, the Persians go all the way back to.
Oh, they were a great power at one time.
They go all the way back to capturing the Jews and bringing them back to, so Babylon was taken over by the Persian Empire.
Yeah.
And that goes back to Esther.
Queen Esther, yeah.
And then the Persians.
The Jewish gal.
It's a great, fantastic story.
It's an amazing story.
No, the Old Testament Bible stories are the best. They're my favorite. But then the Persian Empire goes all the way over. That's Thermopylae with the Spartans in 300. So the Persian Empire goes Alexander the Great, concrete, and it goes way back. So there's a rich, and that's all true. Iran has a rich cultural identity that's layered in pre-Islam, and then post-Islamic sort of like cultural identity. So it's very layered. It's very rich.
And they went whole hog on Shia in 622.
622. Yeah, Muhammad, right?
Muhammad.
Yeah. So
they got mad at everybody.
Yeah.
Basically, the Jews.
Route,
yeah.
And then Iraq, where Iraq is now, and Saudi Arabia took the Sunni route.
Yeah.
So those are predominantly Sunni Muslims. And then Iran is a predominantly Shia country. Well, now Iraq is predominantly Shia, but Iran was probably a Shia country. And then in Afghanistan, where Al-Qaeda made a foothold, those were Sunni Muslims as well.
Yeah, how about that? Okay, so let's see. What do I have for you here? Some states are rumored to be on the cusp of the death penalty by hanging, injection, or a pill.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on that?
I just want the audience to know these are not pre-planned questions. So now we're going to switch gears and talk about the death penalty. Okay.
Well,
no, it's cool.
Well,
So-
I'm trying to
It's all right.
I'm trying to groom you for your future as the president. Okay? That's what I think you should be. But right now, I have to ask local questions too because you're running a campaign.
The Eighth Amendment forbids cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
In large part, the Eighth Amendment applies to the federal government. It's been incorporated to the states. So the previous Supreme Court president on what's cruel and unusual punishment talks about different methods of execution, and many of them have been ruled out by precedent, and also certain classifications of crimes. So the current jurisprudence is that you can only get the death penalty for first-degree murder, right? If you murder somebody, that's the only thing the death penalty can be given for currently. Now, I think the Trump administration is trying to push the envelope on that for things like child rape, when the states expand statutories for that. But right now, only first-degree murder. Okay, so the Supreme Court over time has said these methods of execution are cruel and unusual punishment. Firing squad, that was available in the 19th century. Like, in our lifetime, there were firing squads on the books. Electric chair has basically been banned, right? There's just a certain type of cocktail of lethal injection that's permissible, and that requires basically the anesthesia, which sometimes is not effective. Then the death penalty gets halted in that state. The anesthesia and then the sedation of the inmate, right? And so it has to be like what they think is a painless process. Not only the inmate knows if it's really painless, but they think is a painless process. So it's very limited, the methods of it.
And there's a pill.
There's I think the only, and it could be more stuff now since I was in law school and studied it, but at the time when I was doing the death penalty class, the only thing that was allowed was like a 3-drug cocktail. There was one thing that basically took away pain. There was one thing that basically that made you kind of freeze, it paralyzed you, I think. And then there was something that.
So the other one would make you die of happiness, right?
Well, what's interesting about that, and my law colleagues who are against death penalty will cite the cases where this cocktail's tried, and the inmate like screams in agony, right? And and it's not working, and it looks horrific. And so their point is that they're not really being sedated, but nonetheless, the law only allowed this method that was you have anesthesia, you're sort of in like a waking sleep state, and then I think the third drug basically cycles down your body functions till you die. So probably other methods that are ostensibly painful would be struck down by the current Supreme Court.
Okay, we're running out of time, so I better hurry up here.
That.
Dems, it's not your fault. You were on time. Dems are seemingly going into Marxism and communism.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that, and what do you think their chances are of taking over the Democratic Party?
I think socialism has virtually taken over the Democrat Party. Socialism, the government controls the means of production. That's exactly what the Democrats want to do. They want to control your business, how it's run, what you can do, no at-will employment, and there's just no limit to how much your life could be controlled. So socialism was a term that was invented really by Lenin after the October Revolution, 1917. And
wasn't it Marx?
They used that
in the 50s.
So Marx and Engels were philosophical writers of communism.
Okay.
Marx mainly economics, and Engels was like the militaristic idea, which is you kind of thwart the establishment. You have these protests. Oh, we gotta go. But socialism was the transition, right?
Minute 40.
Okay, so it's the transition. So socialism is this control thing, but the whole thing's about take over your whole life. It displaces religion, displaces capitalism, displaces freedom, and so I think it's a real threat. That's part of the reason why I'm involved too. It's part of the reason I'm in office.
Okay, so other than Dave Weinbaum Show, who you are now a big part of, where can people find and contribute?
Yeah, so just go to any of the McDonald's in Phelps or Pulaski County. There's a number there on the window. Call that number. and say you want to support Bill and get me a McChicken while you're there. And
Yeah, free chicken? No,
a McChicken.
A McChicken, yeah, okay. So better to duck than be smacked by a goose egg. Better to duck than be smacked by a goose egg.
You're in the wrong profession, Dave. Oh,
hello. I didn't even know if that's funny. I'm so done. Okay.
It's so weird.
I know. I wrote this, and I don't know if it's funny or not. Okay.
Trust my judgment.
All right. Trust his judgment. Where are the cameras at? For God's sakes, the guy's in the... He was the coach of Brazil. Where's my 99? Anyways, all right. So you guys have a great holiday, blow off on the everything that you want to do. Have a whiskey on, well, not me, but I'm going crazy here. I'll be back in a couple weeks. We're going to have a show next week. Be there.